All right, y'all. Welcome to All Politics and Local, America's number one political hip hop radio talk show. Y'all know if it's Friday, y'all know it's time for All Politics and Local. But more importantly, y'all know if it is the fourth Friday, y'all know it's time for the Disciples. So they're going to be up first, and of course, they have an illustrious guest on their show tonight. And so I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to let them do that. And so I'm going to back up and give that to them. However, after them, of course, we're going to have at 7 p.m. After the Disciple Show, we're going to have Edwin Ortiz on the Returning Citizen Support Group. And then at 7:30, we're going to have Cuqui Rivera of the Latino Action Network, Edwin Ortiz and Rebecca Unaway of the ACLU are going to look at the Clemency Project and the New Jersey Governor Murphy's Executive Order 362 and the effects and their goals. And then, of course, at 7 p.m., we're going to have the international hip hop artist Ukran 51 talks about his project that uses music therapy to reduce stress and violence. And then, of course, at 8:30, we're going to have DJ Rhino and, of course, our brother Hakeem Green talking about 24 Hours of Peace and some of the guests, and then, of course, everything in hip hop. So we'll look to get everybody on, and we'll begin to make that happen. All right. So let me just welcome y'all, of course, to All Politics and Local, and then, of course, we're going to give you the Disciples, and they'll introduce it from there. All right. So on you, Haq.
Thank you, Brother Ed. Appreciate you. Again, we pray all is well with you and your family. Sister Kim, we thank you again for being here, helping us as we strive to inform and enlighten our people and save souls. Brothers and sisters, all of those in our listening audience, we know that you are no stranger to the Disciples. As Brother Ed said, it's the fourth Friday, and we thank God for blessing us with another fourth Friday that we can be here in order to help, again, inspire, uplift our people, improve the quality of life. I have once again our dearly beloved friend, sister. She really needs no introduction, but I'll let her, introduce herself to all of those who may be new to the show.
Good evening, Hotep, peace, family, and all of that good stuff. It is surely an honor to be here again with my brother, Minister Haqq Muhammad. We are currently waiting on our sister, leading lady of this generation, the beloved bride, and of our beloved brother, God rest his soul, Pastor Balena Ali. We're so excited this evening. It is, there she is.
Yes, she
There's
is.
our sister. There she is. Oh, yeah. Yes, it is amazing. She's here on All Politics, a local America's #1 hip-hop political radio talk show. That's right, Diane. We in the house. We in the house with God's blessings. We thank you all for tuning in. Text, tag, and what do they say? Text, tag, and share.
That's right.
Like, text, tag, and share. Because the time it is, we're going to be celebrating a lot of years. Good evening, Principal Kefele. That's a brilliant man right there.
I just thought about him. He just popped
up. My Lord.
That's right.
Okay, I can't get off track because I remember bringing in the good neighbor talking about this brother. I always talk about Brother Ham and Brother Williams, but this brother here is the cream of the crop of education.
That's right.
We thank God for him tuning in and sharing with us on this evening. Thank you, Minister Haqq Muhammad, for when the visionary asked you about the disciples, that you thought it not robbery to just include this little old young black girl from Newark to be a part of this. And I am just growing in grace, growing in activism, growing in ministry. And the love I have doesn't have to grow because I have so much. If it grow any bigger, I won't be able to hold it within me. There's always more room for love for humanity and for our people, but God just keeps replenishing it so I don't overflow to the point where I can't just pour it out. Now, where did my lady Balena go? Because Minister Abdul, you got to turn it.
She was having some sound issues. She
She
Yeah.
probably went back out to come back in.
Yeah.
But
I couldn't
yes,
hear you, Rountree.
there you go. There she is.
How y'all doing?
We even better now that we see your smiling face.
Yes.
My
So they already know where I'm from. They know that I'm Revolutionary Rountree from the city of Newark, born and raised, representing not just the city of Newark, but also representing the North Municipal Council. Sometimes it depends on what space I'm in. There's a pretty bride of Ed Riley talking about good evening, everybody. Hey, Lady Kim, how you doing with your beautiful self? We are getting ready to turn it over to Lady Balena. Introduce yourself. Back to Minister Haqq Muhammad, and then our guest who will be coming on in a few.
Good evening, everybody. I'm sorry I took so long to come on. I'm Lady Balena Ali from New Psalmist Worship Center. I am so proud to be a part of this, the disciples. I picked up a new hobby, everybody. Come past my house. I got the garden outside.
You better come on here. You always was sowing. Now you're sowing some new seeds, huh?
Yeah. I got a green thumb. Yeah.
Regenerating, spiritually grounding hobby. A very healthy hobby.
Right,
Trying to stay busy.
that's right. Well, we pray that God will continue to restore your soul and, replenish your faith and continue to seek refuge in Him from all anxiety and grief, lack of strength and laziness. But you definitely in our prayers, you and your family, and we really appreciate your activism and your work. I pray that your sister circle is going well. I know you informed us a few weeks ago about how you were opening your doors and starting a circle for those of domestic violence, which is very rampant in America and all over our community. So we really thank you for your work and your dedication, and your commitment to the mission that you were on with your late husband, our brother, our friend, Pastor Ali, Pastor of the Hood. So we're here for you, sister. You're always in our prayers.
Thank you.
I seen we have a guest come on. I think it's only appropriate and proper that you introduce our sister, Reverend Rountree.
Ooh, okay.
I think it's only right, sister.
You know that's my sister, right? That's my little big sister.
That's our sister. So
that's our little big sister who has been out here advocating and working in the vineyard since she was 14, not knowing when she was in 5th grade what her journey was going to entail. I was saying, wait a minute. Right. I was saying when she was 5 years old, but it was actually 5th grade, I believe, when she was 10. And I don't want to tell her story because she got the testimony and she can tell you better. We don't even have enough time on the air for this beautiful and brilliant young woman. Listen, I'm unapologetically Black. And Baba Zahid, if y'all didn't teach me nothing else, then I'm going to say what I got to say. And before I take it back, I add some more to it. So that's that, and that's enough. And listen, I'm grown, I'm Black, I'm free. And so I heard somebody say, meet me outside last week. I done heard that a few times from a few people. But if you talk to me outside, I'm going to tell you the same thing, then hug you and tell you I love you and be about my business. So this is my sister. We serve together in the North Municipal Council. I've been blessed to be at her wedding. I've been blessed to see her raise her daughter. I've been blessed to see the type of wife, the type of public servant, being young, beautiful, and brilliant. I just finished having a conversation with my colleagues on All Politics and Local, is that if my mother and father were around today, they'd wonder why the number 12 is so significant, because the truth of the matter is there should have been a couple of numbers added to what happened last night. I don't know why nobody's not trying to get up on that platform, because there's sure some seats available, but we got to go with what we got, and now we got to deal with what we're dealing with here on a local level. So I'm going to back up and introduce how I always do. The sister is the truth. She is not a punk, and I use that word because Jesus wasn't no punk. Just come on and pull out the whip, Minister Haqq Muhammad. That's right, Kim Riley. Pull out the whip in the temple when them people was treating them people the wrong way, robbing and stealing. Jesus came in there and whipped them all up. Well,
Right.
y'all know he did, right? So they can't think that we so everything that we do not correct with love. So she is one person that makes sure with love that she are taking care. She is taking care of the people's business. A lot of times people get in the way, Lady Ali, of what they think business is, but it's
Amen.
not the people's business, it's their business. We
Amen.
can't, we can't take care of your personal business, but in our positions, it's about all of the people. And so we're honored that God chose her, selected her, and I'm going to yield because all I'm going to say is July 16th, July 16th, July 16th, July 16th, July 16th. If y'all don't get up off your rusty dusties and go out and vote, the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th is early voting. I must have spent 30 minutes, Minister Muhammad, talking, Brother Zaid and Lady Ali, about the importance of voting. And at the same
Amen.
time, this is just a sidebar before she starts speaking for the faith leaders and the young people who are in leadership. When you tell folks to vote, if you don't know and they don't know anything about civics, you might need to tell them not just that people died, but they might need a little education. So when they open their mouth, they will understand the dynamics of the choice that they have in this society. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Because you know what? This pretty girl sitting here waiting. You can see she's traveling, but she took the time out to grace us with her presence on All Politics Are Local, North Warren and Rays. If I was in the church, I'd say, put your hands together. If I was in the masjid, I'd say Allahu Akbar. But I'm on All Politics Are Local. So we welcome you, Council President LaMonica Armikai.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Councilwoman. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. I'm
Yes, ma'am.
on my way back from DC, so it's a little rocky ride, but I got a couple of battery and a couple of minutes, and I wanted to get on to share with you. First of all, to Lady Ali, of course, to Baba, to my brother, my brother, my brother. We go back to free
Lord,
lunch
that's
and it
right.
all. My brother Muhammad. I tell people all the time when they see how great you used to be. I said, man, I know him way a long time ago, way before you do. And
Right.
definitely, I'm super proud of you, and definitely to my sister, my other fragrance on this council. We do the work. We're in the vineyard all the time together, and it's definitely my pleasure. And I do want to thank you all for having me on tonight, just to talk with you briefly. You guys know, you're no stranger that you understand we have an election coming up on July 16th. And of course, our late great Congressman Donald Payne Jr., who used to be a regular here on this show, he unfortunately passed away, and now we're dealing with this, very fast emergency election that is coming up, and I have decided to throw my name in this thing, and so I'm, running from place to place, doing what I do because I love the campaign, love to get out there and do what I need to do to get in front of voters, and so I'm on a campaign trail. It's been the fastest campaign of my life because it's literally been about 8 to 9 weeks since we announced this, since the governor announced this election, and now we are 17 days away from election day, and we're trying to, number one, tell people about the election. I think a lot of people are not even clear that it's going to be an election on July 16th, and people are betting that us people that look like us stay home. So it's very important that we encourage people about the election, and get them to understand to come out to vote. it is a very crowded field in this election. Many people, decided to throw their name into it as well, and that's fine. It's a democracy. People have the right to run. But the one thing I tell, voters, what I've been telling them is that, Washington, D.C. is not the time for a tryout. It's not the time for a tryout. This is the big leagues. You have to come, with some experience and more than just experience. You need
Mm.
and more importantly, voters should be voting for people who can point some progress and some actual examples of progress. And I think no one knows on this call better than you all, and hopefully some of the people that are watching us, of how transformational we've been in the city of Newark with our leadership, with the things that we have done, and of course underneath our true champion Mayor Baraka. So I think that I have a record. The work that I've done here, in the city definitely speaks to that. And I hope to take my, road and my skills on the road to DC to be able to fight for us to bring back resources and money and, and things here back to the whole congressional district 10. And so, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm super excited, and just hoping that people, get out there and vote, for the best candidate. I was reading up today after last night's just disastrous debate, which it was. I think people should call it what it is. It was a terrible
Come on.
debate, and it's unfortunate, that we're in a situation like this. But at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, when you go inside the store and you looking for some shoes to buy, you choose the best pair of shoes you're gonna get based off the price, the color, how tall the heels is. I mean, nobody could tell y'all more how to buy a good pair of shoes than Councilwoman Roundtree.
All
But
right
I think,
now. Come on.
we have to be clear. We have to be clear about when you go in. It's the same thing when you choose your elected officials. You're choosing the one that is best, the best decision for you and your family and for your community. So even with a disastrous debate, last night, at the end of the day, you still got to throw those two folks up
That's
on the
right.
board and do a pros and cons and make the best decision, for
That's right.
yourself. It's been so many things, so many people have been wanting to talk about it all day, and I keep leaving people with one thing. The only black job that we have at this moment is to vote. That's it.
Yes.
That's our black job, and
That's
people need to
that's
Yes.
get out there. They need to get out there and they need to vote, like their life depended on it, and stop, talking about how they don't do politics,
that's
when
right.
politics, be doing them each and every day. So, I'm super excited. There are many things that are important to me that I've come on this show and talked about multiple times, especially around affordability for our district. People are struggling badly. Rent is high, groceries are high, prescription drugs are high, and we have to be able to help folks out, and meeting them where they're at around some of the issues we
That's
have with,
right.
funding. So definitely we need assistance with that. Child care is high, folks can't afford to go to college because it's too high. There are just a lot of issues that we need to make sure people are equipped equipped with to go to
Right.
DC and fight for us. So definitely praying, that folks, get out there and they go vote. Me, I'm no stranger to this politic life. I've been doing it for a very long time behind the scenes,
About it.
from starting my own from starting my own nonprofit, to opening up the city's first women of Center of Hope for Girls and Women, to now, serving as a two-term councilwoman and assistant council president. So, it's been a lot of work that I've been putting in over the time. And, it's just all God's grace, what it is. That's all that it is God's grace to take me to this next journey, to DC. And, we just got to do our part and tell people to get out there and vote. That's our job. That's it. Tell them to get out there and vote. Baba already did his mail-in ballot. Thank you, Baba, for supporting
Yes.
me. And we got to tell other people to get out there and turn in their mail-in ballot for sure. But I don't want to take up too much time of the show. I just want to thank you all for taking the time to allow me to come on today and just, have a couple of minutes.
Well,
And,
wait a minute.
I'll
Wait a
take
minute.
any
Don't
questions or
time run.
anything.
Wait a minute. Wait a
You
minute.
ain't got to
No, no,
run.
I'm not
Wait a
running.
minute.
I ain't running.
No, because we
Oh,
got
oh,
something to say
oh,
while you
Baba.
on here.
Oh, oh, Baba,
We got
Baba,
something to
Baba, you
say
know I
while
ain't
you on
running.
here.
Hey,
Listen,
Baba, I still got 9% left for you.
listen. This is something Council President and myself and the mayor and other people that have some stake in society, and that is this is not the time for OJT. And y'all know what OJT is, right?
On
On
the
the
job.
job training. That's
Yeah,
right.
this is not the time for that. This is, like you can come into some other levels. To be honest with you, I tell people all the time. So if you've never been a council person before, when people say you're not qualified, what do they base that on? Because certain positions
Come on.
only mean that you are a public servant already. See, some people want position, but haven't put in no work. So you can get to be a council person without the experience of the title, without experiencing the title, but having already done the work. I had to figure that out for myself because I was like, how did I get here? And people had to show me, let me show you how you got here, because I never aspired to be a council member. But for 22 years, I've been outside doing some work that people said, well, you already doing it, so come on this side because you care that much for the people. So that's what people can't just jump up and go to Washington. It's not quite that simple. Somebody has to be able to have shown the leadership abilities on many levels. Let me tell you something. I'd stopped going to council meetings for one reason. There was no control. And when council president was elected to be the president, I said, Lord have mercy. We can't have no punk for that either. Because they'll come in there and run you over. They're going to say what they want anyway. That's fine. But you're going to say what you got to say in your time. You're going to respect everybody. I will be there all night telling people to be quiet.
That's right.
She put them out. Amen. Not on purpose. It's out of respect for the other individuals that are entitled to the same respect that we give those who come and want to be heard. So it's not something, I might be a little harsh by saying that, but that's the way you got to run your position across the board. I don't believe that with all the experiences she's had, all the backlashing, all of the work that she's put in, and I'm not saying nobody else did, it's just that, it's not time for on-job training. We don't need anybody to go down there just because they want to be popular. Or just because.
Come on. Come
I
on.
think Reverend Roundtree also, in the scripture, there was a question that was asked, can any good come out of Nazareth?
Come on.
Nazareth was very rough.
Yes.
2,000 years ago, they may would have considered it to be the hood. And Jesus, we know as the scripture teaches us, was born in a manger.
Yes.
But those places that looked at dilapidated, that maybe was not, a sight for sore eyes to see, it was an incubator for greatness.
Yes, sir.
For the man that so many people have come to follow. And I believe that Newark is that same type of place, an incubator for greatness. We see the mayor, who is now in the race for governor, and we see so many others that have come out of Newark. And we see our sister who's now running, for such a seat. And she comes from New Hope Village, is that right?
Yes.
Wow.
And I think that Washington, D.C., our people need new hope, So we are definitely with you and we are supporting you. Not because you are just from North, but we have worked with you. We know your character. We can speak to your character. We can speak to your activism. We can speak to your love. We can speak to your service. And Brother Zaid and Sister Ali, you don't have sycophants on here who just because you are from North, that we want to send you. No, we believe in you, and we trust your word. And again, we
Yes.
can attest to your character, who you are and what you are. We see you in the trenches. We know that the love that you have for the little man and the little woman in the mud, as Jesus said when the disciples were talking, and he was talking to the disciples, and he said, Master, when were you hungry and we did not feed you? Or when were you naked and we did not clothe you? And Jesus said, if you have done this unto the least of these, you have done
Done
it.
it unto me.
And that has to be the standard upon which we measure our public servants. And we've seen you, again, your work is a testament to your character and your dedication. And you're more than a politician to us. You really are, because you are a woman of ethics and a woman of a certain standard and a certain character that's sorely missing in politics. So we really appreciate you, sister. You have our support. And we pray that God will protect you and bless you and keep
Yes. Yes.
you. And we thank God for preserving you. You know.
Let me throw my brown penny in here for a hot second. One, Hawk, I appreciate you lifting up the language of my brother and comrade Charles Barron, the sycophant. His show comes on before ours at 5 o'clock on WBAI. And I ain't got no problems plugging him because he represents
Please plug it.
the kind of tradition in elected space that we're talking about. Daughter, I'm just going to give you just some very basic advice. One, get used to that ride back and forth between Newark and Washington because it's going to become regular. Right? Number two, I'm a part of something that's called the Community Safety Working Agenda. All the stuff, and that's just a big, pretty way of some key bills that strengthens all of the stuff that we have done in Newark already around community-based public safety and community-based violence intervention, right? But what you just laid out in your conversation, and this is I'm trying to give you some add to your line of vision, right? And not just and it's something that is all underneath and should not be missed by the what we looked at last night and how disappointed we all need to be at Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Tweedledee dee dum,
Stop.
straight up, right? Is that some of the things that we're holding on to and we're pushing are very much in crisis by virtue of how this next election cycle is going to go, regardless of which of the two knuckleheads you choose, right? If we get the old dude back, the other side is still scraping and trying to advance their position, and they still have a stranglehold on the Congress. If old dude loses and the right wing advances, some of the very things that we're talking about, that knucklehead can go away with a stroke of a pen and come on us with Project 2025, which is a right wing agenda that will take us back some years before you were
100 years.
right now. Where am I going? You just described, by virtue of the things that you cared for and are about in the few minutes that you just had, something that I want you to consider maybe wanting to build amongst your colleagues when you get down there in that other city, right? There's going to be a need for a community what's the word I'm looking for? A safety net agenda. The things that you are talking about are safety nets that are in peril. They're very much in peril. And we need to be real clear about that. There's nothing that we have right now going on in the land of rights and entitlements that are a sure thing anymore. So we need to, and finally, and I appreciate you being willingness to be honest and critical about what we all saw last night. The emergence of folks like you in your age group, it's your time to come forward.
That's right.
It's your time to come forward. Them two old dudes are what we call in African time present past. And the people need to raise up and make both of them realize that and move both of them aside. Straight up. That's me talking. right? Now I know we may have to put up with one of them for another 4 years, but in real time, in terms of what's good for the world and good for this space that we all share today, time is definitely here for a new generation to arise and take its rightful place of leadership and ownership at this moment. So seize the time, baby. Use my little Panther language for a moment. Seize the time.
Thank you, and thank you to each. Thank you to my sister, and definitely to my brother, the one and only Abdul Haq Muhammad, for the words for sure.
And I want to say this too. We really appreciate, and I don't know if Sister Ali want to say something. Another this very strong, dedicated, committed soul. And we really appreciate your courage. That's not an easy space to enter into. And these are not easy times. These are very perilous times, a lot of political chaos. So, I mean, that is not for the weak in heart. But again, I believe that the soil from which you come has prepared you and has shaped you. Whichever way it goes, has prepared you and has shaped you to go into a place like Washington, D.C., among the caliber and the type of people that you are going among. And again, we really appreciate your courage to go and to, represent not just us, but yourself, your legacy. And again, we know the circumstances upon which that seat has become vacant. But I'll say this and I'll close it down. The Bible says in Genesis that in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the waters. So we know that there's a void there, but I believe by the grace of God, you have the Spirit to move upon the waters of the people's heart, and that they'll make the right decision when they go to the polls, because you are a dedicated servant of the people, and we're going to continue to support you, regardless of whom or what. And sister, when we need to be critical, we're going to do that, right? Because we are your true brothers and sisters. Brother Zaid is not going to not tell you what you need to hear, and myself and Reverend Roundtree, but we not going to do it as oftentimes we see our people do it, because we're here to help and uplift, not to destroy. Even if we have to correct, we want to do it in a spirit of love, right? And unity. So we just, again, want to thank you and let you know that we're praying for you, that God will continue to cover you and keep you, sister. So thank you. I don't know if Sister Ali want to say something.
I want to say something. President, I don't know what to call you.
Council President, soon to be
Council
Congresswoman.
President. Okay, I had to get together. Council President, I have to say, you won me over a few years ago. Brooke invited me to a breast cancer program y'all had at UMDMJ where y'all honored us. And that was the day you truly won me over, because I had just got finished battling breast cancer. So I don't live in Newark, but I often follow some of the things you do. So like Zaid and everybody said, I've been praying for you, because we need a strong Black woman in Congress that's going to keep on fighting for us, not just as Black women, but as Black people. And like I said, you won me over then, and you didn't see me following you, but every now and again I will follow you and hear some of the stuff you would say. So I was excited when they said that you was running for the seat.
Thank you so much, Lady Ali. And with that, I literally lost y'all for a little while, but I'm going in and out of these on these train tracks. So I just want to once again say thank y'all before I lose y'all again. And like I tell people, the civic process is way past the vote, the day you go vote. It's every day after that. It's holding your elected officials accountable. I actually
We got it.
On that train.
At the council meeting, to see about the accountability. So thank you all. Thank you so much for this time, and I look forward to seeing you guys real soon.
Council President, Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares our Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." So guess what? Minister Abdul Haq, Brother Zaid, Lady Ali, God promised this
Yes.
is what God was going to do. And so your hope and your future, listen, is already set because of God's plan for you. We just want to encourage everyone to please come out and vote on July 16th.
Vote.
There's a lot of people, Minister Abdul Haq, even religions, that don't believe and say that they're not affiliated with. Well, unless you're your own seamstress, even when you buy the material, the government got to approve it. The food you eat, unless you live on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's land, and you go in the shop, right? The government, the clothes you got on your back, the government. So when you say politics, they down there, and I've heard, listen, Council President, some other folks, while you say you don't do politics, politics is doing you. So the truth of the matter is, we've got to be aware. I was telling the clergy minister and Brother Zaid that I don't know if people understand what the prophetic voice is in the faith-based community. You are a prophetic voice. I'm a prophetic voice. Prophetic voice does not mean we know prophets, that we're going to tell your future. But it means that we speak for the rights and activism for the people to assist in improving the quality of life on all levels with not being fearful of speaking truth to power. That's what we do. Minister, I'm sorry, it's in your hands. I'm sorry.
No. That's, I mean,
Right
that's
on point.
segue, Reverend Roundtree. You know, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, some of the scriptural hermeneutics that he has taught us. When, again, as I was reading Genesis, where it says in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Right.
And one of the things that the minister has said to us, or taught us, that he says scripturally, in some context, the heavens represents the spiritual leadership and the earth represents the political leadership. And he said that when the heavens and the earth have a relationship, they have to have a relationship in order for the earth to give us the things that we need. So as a people, because of our condition and our circumstance, we need everything. You understand? We need spiritual leadership. We need political leadership. We need cultural leadership. We need scientific leadership. We need education. We need everything because we are a nation of people. So we need it all. So we can't take one thing and leave the other,
That's right.
take the other. No, we got to be working in unison. We got to be working in harmony. As we know, the Bible talks about in Ezekiel in the 37th chapter, the dry bones in the valley.
That's right.
One of the things that they said, that their hope was lost, right? Because of the circumstances and the condition that they found themselves in. But we can't allow all that came before us, who were thieves and robbers, now cause us to overgeneralize where we just indict everybody. However,
right.
Roundtree, those who do come in those political seats must be mindful that we have had many politicians that have deceived us, that have lied to us, have left us with a negative taste in our mouths. So many of our great prominent leaders said, Baba Zaid, you can help me. I believe it was, was it Booker T. Washington who talked about in 1956? I'm not going to the polls, Democrat or Republican. I believe, no, it was W.B. Du Bois.
W.B. Du Bois.
How in 1956, I'm not going to either or. I'm not voting for either or. So again, because of what we have suffered, where politics is concerned, it has left many of our people with a bad taste in their mouths. So that's my only thing for those who do come and who are sincere. As you know, Reverend Roundtree, Jesus said, all that came before me was thieves and robbers.
Thieves and robbers.
So Jesus had to bear the brunt of all that came before. So he had to have a lot more patience and tolerance, because he understood that, hey, man, many people that came saying they were the one were not the one. So when the one do come, Now everybody's, oh, here you go again. We
Oh,
gonna see
Jesus.
Wait a minute.
they want to know if are you that one? Are you the
Jesus.
Mary? Are you the one who is grassroots that's really for the people? So we just all gotta be more patient, more tolerant with one another. And I know times are very hard, but hell, if you black in America, times have always
Been hard.
It's hard.
for us.
But you know what the real
It's
problem
always
is?
a state of emergency for us. Like I mean, you know, so we can't now. Times is hard. When has it not been hard for black people in America? It's always been hard for us. It was hard in 1824. It was hard in 1924, and it's damn sure hard in 2020.
Come on.
So, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, we gotta accept, you know, what's happening. No, but I'm just saying that it's always been hard. We always been in a state of crisis. But I thank God for the conditions that has produced a Reverend Rountree, who have produced your mother, who produced a Pastor Ali, a
Yes.
Lady Ali, a Baba's Eye. We wouldn't have these strong pillars, you understand, in our community if it was not for the conditions that produced us. Again, there was a circumstance that produced the Moses. There was a circumstance that produced the Abraham. There was a circumstance that produced in a set or saw all of these great people that we see, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Toussaint L. Overture. There was conditions and circumstances that gave rise, you understand? And let me say this, and I'm gonna shut up. But
You good.
no, we can't talk about a Toussaint L. Overture or a Dr. Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or even a Jesus without talking about the womb that produced these men.
Produced them. That's
These men didn't pop up in a
I'm really excited, you know, because I was telling some folks, ooh.
In the African tradition, we believe in the feminine principle. Wherever you saw a great king, there was a great queen right next to him. Like, so this is a new phenomenon for us in terms of the disrespect of women and sexism. And no, we always knew the power of the feminine energy and principle. We respected it and we loved it. So, you know, I'm just saying that's my Baptist sermon for the day.
You good, Minister.
Come on, Minister.
Listen, you good, because let me say this. We know women give birth to nations. We know women give birth to nations. We know that the Quran has a whole book.
That's right.
I told folks the other day, I said the Quran has a whole book dedicated to Mary.
That's right.
And Mary's life. Back to what you were saying, you know, Nehemiah 4:6 says, so we built the wall, and the entire wall was joined together up to half its height. For the people, that's the key word, had a mind to work. Nehemiah's story, Minister, demonstrates the power of determination, focus, and courage. These people were captives stolen away from their hearts' homes. Some people, Minister, in 2024, as our dear beloved Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed more slaves if they knew they were slaves. Some people are still captive in their own mind. So this is why I tell folk, study, do your own research. Please don't take what I say. If I tell you something, you need to go research for yourself. You need to look up, and don't read everything on Google and think it's the law either. Because even the Bible only has 66 books, and that don't cover no 4,000, 2,000, 1,500 years in that little document. So there's history behind history. We are part of history right now in a new era. Minister Haqq, you were produced. Baba, you were produced. Lady Ali, you were produced. You talked about all these various 8 lanes that we need to work together. Well, those people got together and worked on that wall because that was their work. That's what their assignment was, being a Nehemiah model. And I tell people, being a Nehemiah model means you have to have a mind to work. But it don't mean you're supposed to be on the wall if you're supposed to be on the ocean.
Amen.
It doesn't mean you're supposed to be on the wall if you're supposed to be downtown feeding the hungry. It doesn't mean you're supposed to be on the wall because we really forget sometimes, Minister, that what our assignment is. That scripture In Philippians, it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Right.
I
Yes.
often say, all things ain't everything for you.
That's
You
right.
got whatever that all, some people be like, oh, I can do all. No. Not all things, just your all things. Because some folks want to jump in all things and then nothing gets done because they're too busy criticizing the way you're doing something they're not even supposed to be involved in.
Yes.
Because they think they're supposed to be doing it too.
Yes.
So once we get to the mindset that whatever my all thing is, see, I know what my all thing is. And what I know is not my all thing, I go to the people who the all thing belong to. And let them do what they're supposed to do. I know what Zaid's ministry is. I know that he speaks in another tongue sometimes when we're out in public. And he can do that because that's what he does when he's expressing the history and the lore and the passion behind the community that he so passionately loves and wants to see our people do more of that. Lady Ali, when she speaks about her husband, she sat on the side and watched his ministry on megaphones, and she watched him with his weight go up, down, heart go in, out, things that she medically during the medical trials and tribulations. She watched him from activism to have to help him get activated. I think that's about the best way we can put it, Baba. Because there were times when, while he was out there being an activist, some things got deactivated. And she had to go there and be the activist in these medical institutions and then come home to help him be reactivated, if that's... And it's the same with Brother Haqq. When I met him, he was a young, when I say fire, Lord have mercy. He didn't know none of y'all, Baba. He came here with so much fire. When I shook his hand,
we had eyes on this kid.
I'm talking about 2014. I'm not talking.
We been watching him.
This brother shook my hand, and I was like, whoo, when he shook my hand, and I didn't even know, and I was like, can you come and pray? Because he was young, and I'm about,
right, that's right,
giving platforms to the young people.
My husband always talked about him.
He just got the assignment of the leader of March 25. I was like, well, you know what better way to introduce the leader than to let him pray? Lord have mercy. When I say fire,
Reverend Roundtree, can I say something to get to that point when you?
I'm gonna stop right there. I'm just gonna say God has groomed you, and the honorable ministers got to be so thankful to Allah. That's right, Lady Kim. Stay in your lane.
And that's what I want to talk about. When you talked about I can do all things through Christ which strengthen me, and that's very important. That because that's something that plagues our community. They talked about crabs in a barrel and X, Y, and Z. But the Honorable Elizabeth Farrakhan teaches us that God has blessed all of us with a piece of Himself and a gift that He has given to each of us. And I might have discovered mine, and you haven't discovered yours yet. But if you keep living long enough, God willing, you discover your purpose.
Amen.
However, we see in our communities, in particular, that there's always that Cain and Abel type of mindset or syndrome. Yes. And one thing the minister said to us was that Cain also represents two possibilities in the same mind. He said, because there's a part of us that's able, meaning we're able to do, we have ability, but then there's a part of us that's Cain, there's a part of us that can't do certain things. And there's always that part, that Cain, that can't part that's looking to snuff out the side of us that's able, the ability part. But he said one thing about Cain was that Cain misperceived what God did. He thought God was rejecting him. No, I'm just rejecting your gift. I'm not rejecting you. But he was so emotional at God's decision that he wanted to take it out. He envied his brother and he wanted to kill his brother. And that's how we do a lot of times as human beings when we see somebody that has a gift, and the gift, as the Bible says, make room for us, and they are accepted and they're getting the applause, and then we see them and we say, man, I wish. We can't kill the giver of the gift, which is God. So we gonna really kill this brother or this sister. We kill them not just physically, but we kill them verbally with our
Come
mouth.
on.
Talk
Come on.
about them. We pull them down and see that nigga. See why LaMonica going out there? Why she get to go? Why she ain't do nothing? So we get online or we go before these circles and we be like Cain and we try to kill a sister who is able, who's doing something. But don't kill her. Don't be a punk
That's
about
right.
it. Go
Come
to
on.
the God that produced her, but you don't want to do that. We're too afraid to do that. So we want to kill our sister, meaning her spirit,
That's
her
right.
emotion,
Yeah.
That's right.
character. So, brothers and sisters, don't be envious. This is a very unredeemable characteristic,
Yes.
quality.
Yes.
Don't be envious. We saw in the book of Acts that
That's right.
those who were so-called Jews envied Paul and they wanted to take Paul's life. They envied Jesus and they wanted to take Jesus' life. What? Because of envy. So you have a gift, brother and sister, and if you live long enough, you'll discover it. But to those who have discovered their gift and who are living in their purpose, don't be envious of them. God
Yes.
bless you to discover yours and to find yours. And always remember that when you begin to go up, what you have done to others is
Will
going to
come
be
back
done
around.
to you.
Yes.
So think about your own self before you
Right.
begin to speak ill of somebody else or try to pull somebody else down. Our sister is not perfect, but hell, none of us are.
Say
That's
it.
You
right.
Come on.
understand? So we know that there's many things that are left to be desired because the biggest room in the house is always the room for improvement, brothers. And we all on that road and journey.
Come
Stop.
on,
So
minister.
see our
Like,
sister
stop.
and she's doing
Biggest
something. And
room.
don't beat us down and say they don't know. That's just nepotism. They don't know who she really is. No, we know we can. I mean, hell, every moon got a dark side.
Yes.
Every moon got a dark side. You understand? And when we see yours, you gonna want somebody to have mercy on you. So
Boy, oh boy.
that's not
Come
our
on.
work. We spiritual people, brothers. I.e.,
Yes,
we
sir.
not in the denouncing business and the
Nope.
condemnation.
Nope.
We ain't in that
Come
bit.
on.
We in the business of trying
Nope.
to see the best side of our people and bring that up.
Yes.
That's our business. So don't be mad at us if we talking fair. And I know this is
Hold on, Minister
word
Abdul. I sent some. Listen to this. I sent somebody this the other day that I think needed a word of encouragement. They tried to damage your reputation, and you saved theirs by not telling your side of the story.
Hey,
Wow.
so as one of my
I
brothers,
need to go talk to
Everybody.
somebody.
as one of my brothers in ministry say, I know we love negativity. You understand? We love negativity. My brother I know we love negativity. We love to see and it's so much negativity out here today that's kind of we would rather hear that than anything good.
Come
We would
on.
rather, I
Say
know
it.
you wanted us to come on here and talk to Sister MacGyver and see what about this. No, we ain't gonna do that.
No,
Not,
we ain't
Yeah,
doing
that's
that.
right.
not under the disciples. We ain't gonna do that. Go somewhere else and you can get that kind of low down, low vibration, scandalous subject matter. But here we gonna challenge people where they need to be challenged, and we gonna even do that in a respectful way because
That's
we're not
right.
challenging to kill a soul.
That's
No, we're
right.
My God.
challenging to lift, to make better, not to kill the spirit. No, we want to alter, you understand, behavior, but we don't want to kill the spirit, right? So that's all. But I'm done. It's 6:55. I said enough,
We
brother.
ain't never done.
Mr. Ali.
It's
We
radio.
are never done. We
You
got so
gotta
much.
talk. You can't not talk in radio.
No, I got you. But
Can
I'm
I
just
say
saying.
something though?
Of course you could, Sister Ali. Of course you could.
When I do my lives, I think this week I said on my live, my husband always found the good in everybody.
That's
I
me.
don't care what, if you low down, dirty, shame, whatever it was, he always found the good in everybody. And I asked God just to give me a little bit of that. I don't want all of that my husband had. I just want a little bit to learn how to find the good in everybody. Because everybody got some good in them and everybody don't need to be beat down. So yeah.
You know what, Lady Arlene? Even if you don't find it, know that there's some good in everybody. Nothing is 100% bad. And nothing is 100%, never will be perfect. Only the Father is perfect. We strive to be correct. We strive to do better. We're supposed to, when we know better, do better. When people have issues, people have problems, at the end of the day, I tell folks, don't act like you didn't used to be something. You know, if you've been perfect all your think that you're perfect and have been all of that and a bag of chips with a cherry on top of the ice cream cone, then I run from people like that because
me too.
I love them. I love them, but I love them with a little space because, and one of the reasons why I am a loner is because I don't want to be contaminated. So contamination can set in your spirit just by association of what people speak into your mind, speak into your, you know, when they speaking, they say garbage in, garbage out. So I'm very comfortable alone in space unless I'm doing for the people or working with the people, because there is good in everybody. So when I get in those spaces, listen, I don't know if y'all heard me 2 weeks ago in the council meeting, but I said, you know, everyone is entitled to their opinion,
Yes.
what they want to say on this council meeting. But let me just give the message to the ones, just in case you think it troubles me. The more you talk, the more negative you put in the environment, the more love I'm going to have for you, and I'm going to love you even harder. Because when people are negative, if you allow that spirit to affect you, get in your mind, and you react, now you have actually allowed that spirit to take residence in your mind free.
Yes. Yes.
No rent ain't paying not their bill, but taking up space in your head.
Yes.
Lord, I need my space in my head for a whole lot of good stuff. And I don't need you in it with your foolishness. So if it come my way, it just go right on by, Minister. You'd be like, okay, God bless you. Okay, God bless you.
And we know, Reverend Roundtree, Sister Ali, Brother Zaid, but that was one of the beatitudes of Jesus. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you for my name's sake. Revile before the day the prophet.
That part.
If we are walking in the footsteps of these great worthy men of God, they were maligned, they were lied on, they were slandered, they were ridiculed, they were mocked, they laughed at Noah. If we are following in the footsteps of these worthy prophets, we see Hagar. Well, I mean, these worthy people, then who are we to think that now we're not going to be lied on, we're not going to be slandered, we're not going to be mean spoken to? But the characteristic of a redeemer, and everybody's not a redeemer, I'm not saying that, but that we must almost be supernatural. We can't respond with like for like. We got to repel evil with that which is best. Now, I'm not ultimately saying if somebody smack you, get them the other cheek. Now, no. My leader did tell me. He said,
I'm
no,
just
that's what
move out the way so I don't have to slap you back.
Yeah, he said, no. He said
Hello.
that. But listen, you remember, Sister Ali, when Peter was talking to Jesus, how many times shall my brother trespass me and I forgive him? And he said 70 times and 7 times 7.
Yes,
And the minister said that word that represents infinity. So I'm saying we just got to be more tolerant, a little bit more with us, and a little bit more patient. And it's difficult. I know we could be some mean, low down. Trust me, I know we get down and dirty. Like I get it, but Jesus, or it says in Corinthians, Reverend Roundtree, if I speak with the tongues of angels,
that's right.
If I have not love,
that's right.
Right. So I'm just saying we just gotta have a little bit more love. I know I'm getting off here, Brother Zaid, because I know the people like, man, all this love talk.
Wait a minute, you
talking about.
You ain't gotta worry about Zaid. You gotta worry about Jonathan.
Inflation. What's all this love he talking about? Don't he know inflation? I understand that, but I believe in a God that suffices all needs. I believe in that. So I'm struggling like everybody else, but I believe in a God that will suffice my needs, who said that if I turn to him and seek his face and humble myself and turn, that's what I believe. So that's the spirit you see me channeling. It's not that I have everything and everything is fine. No, I just know that faith is the substance of things hoped
And
for.
the evidence of things not
The
seen.
evidence, I just know that and I believe that. So forgive me for my jovial, positive attitude. If you are down, I pray that something we said will spark the synapses in your mind, and you can, man, you know what, they right about that. So we here for good. But I thank you all, Reverend Roundtree, Sister Ali. Any closing remarks? Any closing words? Jonathan ain't on here yet, so any closing words?
Jonathan is traveling.
Oh,
First Corinthians tells us if we have not love, we have nothing.
you have nothing.
We have nothing.
That's no Che
You
Guevara.
can have a whole bunch of money, clothes, house. I will trade it all because love covers a multitude of things.
That's right.
You can have somebody mad with you.
That's right.
Angry, don't even know why they mad. Don't even know why they mad, period. Wake up in the morning as the man say, look in the mirror, just mad. You know, and somebody, maybe nobody showed them any love. Maybe they grew up in that type of environment. So one thing I know is that I got a lot of attention, but then I also got beat. So I was a little confused about love growing up, you know, because my mother was really rough. My daddy was a little good. They got into an argument about beating him, getting ready to hit me. My father never hit me. My father pulled out a belt one day, and my mother was the beater. She started fussing with him about that belt, Minister Abdul. They started fussing. I never got to beating because by the time they fussed and it was over, I just never got, it was over. It was like they walked away and I was just standing there, you know, but we thank God for the All Politics and Local #1 radio hip hop political show. We thank God for Brother Riley and making this space. We're not going to take this show on the road. I am willing to, and I'm getting ready to do this. Minister Abdul, do you remember the show I did with you? Was it you or was it Dawah Haq when I did Faith in Government for Channel 78 with Felicity? What's his name?
That probably was Brother
Might have been that damn Haq. Felipe Luciano. What's his name from the Dead Poets? Luciano. Yeah, we did when he was here in communication. We did a program, and I had Latino, and I had Imam Haqq. I think I had Rabbi Rosenbach. Now we got an African American Rabbi at Ava Shalom. First time in the history of that synagogue that we got Rabbi Elisha is his name. Wow. So at some point, Brother Ed, I want us to talk about doing this on 78 so we can actually have these conversations where people can see, because 78 is a Newark station that's, you know, now we might not be able to do like the politicians and stuff like that unless they're coming on already elected. I'm not sure what the rules of that will be. But Minister Abdul Haqq Muhammad, hey Brian, what's up, Brian? Love you. So let's talk about that, Brother Ed, because even though you're going to take it on the road one way, I can have it televised. I mean, you still be, we all of us will be producing it. Amen. And the credits it'll be all of us are producing, because we'll be producing the information. I have to send out sincere condolences to a family. I'm supposed to be at a retirement, a funeral, a play. I'm supposed to be in all of that right now. Marcy Phillips, Honorable Marceline Phillips, from the African Commission, African Alliance. Her wake and funeral are being held right now at Wigham's Funeral Home as I speak. Anybody that remembers Marcy or doesn't remember Marcy, when Obama ran for president, there was a woman running around with a whole outfit on that was made out of Obama signs. Do you remember that, Zaid? Oh my God, if you don't, there's a picture of Marcy Phillips when Obama first ran. She was very, very, very active in every election that I can remember. So we want to send condolences out to her children, her grandchildren. They're currently at Wigham's Funeral Home as we speak. Saida O'Brien, first African-American athletic director appointed by Mayor Baraka, Central High School, and so many other communities that her bio is just too long for me to even go into. One of Newark's champions, one of Newark's sisters, one of Newark's faithful to our youth and our community. And there's so many other things that she did. We want to send condolences out to Sister Saida O'Brien's family, to Brother Al Tariq White, which is her brother. We're praying for you. And I believe her funeral, her homegoing celebration, I believe the wake is Monday evening and the funeral is Tuesday at Metropolitan Baptist Church. It should be online, but we do send close to the entire administration, the Baraka family, so many families, Kettles, so many Kettles families, so many families.
I just found Marcy's picture. Go ahead, keep talking.
You just found Marcy's picture?
Yeah, with her Obama shirt on and hat. Yeah.
Yep. So let us keep these families. We all know that's an appointment, Minister, we have to keep. We all can cancel dentist appointments and cancel doctor's appointments, but when we're called from labor to reward, we can't say, hold on, wait a minute. I'm not ready yet. We have to answer the call. And so both of them, succumbed to an illness, and they've been called from labor to reward. So we want to continue. I want to thank all of the women that came out. Council President and I hosted a mammogram screening on the day before yesterday. Wow. And when I tell you, after I went live, the sisters started coming. I already made sure that we had already made sure there were women registered. So guess what? Since it is the work of Lady Ali, on August 30th, she and I will be hosting another mammogram screening. On July 23rd, I'm partnering with the Weequahic Park Association and Weequahic Park to have the bus come there. The mayor has buses that go all over the city. So if you don't feel like getting up, which you should, to get a job, there's a wild bus that travels, and we have the bus that travels to do your mammogram screenings right on the spot, whether you have insurance or not. As long as you are 40 or over, you can call my office, 973-733-3794, and schedule that you're coming on the 23rd. Just give your name and watch this. Even if you just walk up because you decided that morning, Reverend Louise going to say, you can't turn them away because they didn't register. Let's go get the girls checked. So I'm sorry, brothers. Wait a minute. Anyway, we also, while I was on that bus, I told someone, what's his name? Councilman Crump and Councilman Kelly, I believe, did a men's thing, right? I would like to see a family, maybe not the children so much yet, but maybe we can do something regarding health screenings for men and women. Set up something where we could come together, have the mammograms and the prostate and whatever else needs to be done in one location. Not able to do it in Cityplex again because parking is available. And just have a men and women's health fair, whatever screenings are available. That's really my vision, because the truth of the matter is men are the worst patients and women are not that far behind. But those of us who are really, really busy sometimes put off stuff, not because we don't have access. And what's even worse is when you got insurance and won't keep your appointments. Got insurance. There are people with insurance that put off. You know how I know? Because I'm one of them. At least I was, and then I realized you're paying all this money for insurance and you got to remind yourself to go get blood work. You're so busy running around the city of Newark taking care of everybody else, and you don't know if your blood right or your pressure's right and your heart is right. And then when something surprised you, it'd be like, Dad, I should have went, I know people, if they get a headache, they run into the hospital for an MRI. Here I am. If I get a toe ache, I'm like, oh, it's just my toe, But anyway, please, ma'am, please, sir, go check yourself out. Go get your blood work done. Go check your head, your heart. Don't take for granted any little inclination of something that's not normal in your body. And men run from those screenings. But I don't care what you're running from. Go get yourself checked out. Get it done. Because if you find out early enough, it's better to find out early. And I declared and decreed yesterday that everyone that came would nothing be found. I just wanted them checked. I prayed the Lord, don't let nobody come in to detect nothing early, but let them at least know they all right.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Reverend Roundtree. Where would that location be on the 30th of August?
Well, let me go to the 23rd first. Lady Balena Ali are working out the logistics for the location for the 30th of August, but July 23rd will be at Weekway Park.
Okay, yes, ma'am. What time is that, Reverend Roundtree?
9 to 3:30.
9 to 3:30, Weekway Park.
Both days.
Thank you so much for your
Save the day.
Sister Ali.
Don't forget to vote. Don't forget to vote. Don't forget to vote. Please, July 16th, get out and vote. And early voting is July 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Thank you so much, Roundtree. Sister Ali, any closing remarks, sister? You on mute, my sister.
She's muted, yeah.
You on mute. Can we this is where you can take off. There she go.
My group is here, and we getting ready to get started with our Enough is Enough meeting. Because I've been all over the place, but I got to make sure we keep this going because we as I call us all queens.
That's
we
right.
got to stick together, and like I said, this group is about us coming together and just talking and venting, and what's said in here stays in here. So it's every fourth Friday, but I'm trying to move to the third Friday, but June got past me. That's why we're here late tonight doing the Enough is Enough meeting.
Sisters, thank you so much. We praying over your meeting.
That's right.
That Almighty God will heal,
Thank you.
bring solace and give hope and restoration to all of the sisters who are there.
Yes.
Declaring that enough is enough.
Yes.
And I just seen Brother Ed and Brother Zaid that maybe a few days ago, it was Brother Roy Jones Jr.'s son committed suicide. And we have so many of our young children, youth who are suffering from mental health issues, particularly today, more so now than ever. I know a few years ago, our sister Taraji P was in Congress talking about Black youth and mental health issues. And, we've seen the suicide rate among our youth has skyrocketed. I think she talked about, she had contemplated suicide. So we got many of our people who are struggling with depression and anxiety.
That generation is really struggling.
So many of our people who are grappling in silence, with these mental health issues. And, in the Black community, we just, one is crazier because we never had a standard by which to categorize these behaviors that we see our people exhibiting. Yes. So I just want to say that, if you're suffering from depression or suicidal thoughts or anxiety or grief, shame, any of these soul-eating emotions that here the disciples, we're praying for you. You are in our prayers. We're praying and we're fasting for you.
Yes.
I want you to know that you are not alone and that God is the seer, he's the hearer, and he's the knower. Yes. As the Quran says that God created man and woman, and he knows what our minds suggest to us. And in times of darkness, in times of tribulation, in times of trial, we can feel abandoned, we can feel isolated, we can feel alone. You understand? But you are not alone. No. For again, the Quran says, and when my servants ask thee concerning me, surely I am near, that he answers our prayers. But we just got to hold on until we ultimately can see the light. So for all of our people, our youth in the city, particularly of North, we're praying for you. We know we had an incident this week, so we're praying that God will cover our youth and cover all of our youth, everybody who was involved, the police officers, the city workers, our mayor. We're praying that God will cover you and that he will heal you and that he will be with you and that he will restore you back to optimum emotional health and spiritual health. And to all of our listeners, if you're struggling or grappling with anything, we pray that something we said will heal your heart and heal your soul and settle any disturbances that may be in your life. Again, Sister Ali, you knew you always in our prayers, and we have not forgot you. And we are praying that God will renew you and bestow you with more strength and more life and more love. So we thank you, Reverend Roundtree. We're praying for you, sister. You always praying for everybody else, but you are the embodiment of service and love and dedication and commitment. And even when you're struggling with your own domestic and personal issues, you never allow that to cause you to forsake what God has called you to do. So you are in our prayers, you are in our hearts. You, Brother Zaid, out there, man, 100 years old, but you have not stopped fighting. Voiceless.
Voiceless.
So we see you out there, you in Trenton, you and our brother Larry Ham. I don't care how old y'all are, y'all out there. Yeah, I think Methuselah lived to be 900 and some years old. You about 950. Ham is about 975. Y'all out there on the streets, on the battlefield. So we appreciate your service, brother, and Brother Ed. Again, Brother Ed is a gem and a Jew. He's been around a long time. So many generations. He's seen a lot. He heard a lot. So Ed, we really appreciate you for giving us, your time and your talent. Because we know we're making so much money, but you're like, man, the hell with that. Because you said, I'm going to seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and everything else is going to be added on to you. So we appreciate you and your lovely wife, Sister Kim, who's always supporting you. And we just thank you so much for all that you've done. We got a dynamic and a very talented community, and I pray that God will continue to be with us and heal us all. And if you are out there and you're a little disgruntled and you don't like the positivity that you hear coming from the Disciple Show, we are praying for you that God will restore your mind and help your heart. Because again, some of us are angry legitimately over the things that have been done to us and around us. We're not judging, but we are just praying and working. So thank you, the disciples, and until next show, we pray that God keep us and bless us. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace and blessings to all of you. God bless you, Brother Ed, Lady Ali, and the one and only Baba Zaid. I know that Jonathan must be on vacation because that's the only reason.
He's actually traveling.
See there, that's the only reason.
We would have been zapped 20 minutes ago.
Zach, Tina been on here and said, okay, that's enough for the disciples. We want to thank you for coming on today and blah, 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 blah. Where are your next guests? I need to get to the Winnie's funeral. I got to go.
Yeah,
you need to go do that.
I love you all. Thank you once again.
All right, Roundtree.
Yes.
You know, Haqq called me and you old men. I'm gonna get him when I see him. He called you. He called you 100 years old like Methuselah. I'm gonna get that guy, man. I'm not going with that. But we're gonna introduce your guest, man.
and Chino, we owe you some time, but we want to get in what we need to get in. Chino was supposed to come on right behind him about 10, 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Tell his story and the returning citizen story. Cuqui is a few minutes ahead of time, but she good. You stay there, Cuqui. You all right? Okay. Because you're definitely a part of this ride. You're one of the long distance drivers of this car, right? This week, not this week, on Juneteenth, a lot of things happened on Juneteenth, right? So one of the things that happened that I didn't want to get thrown under the radar is that Governor Murphy did something right by signing an executive order embracing what is known as the Clemency Project, which gives another gateway for some of us to get the hell out of the system when we've been wrongly put in there in the first place in many cases, right? But even before that, so in a few minutes we're going to have a full conversation on that with Chino, with Cuqui and this young sister from the ACLU that helped drive that car by the name of Rebecca Uwekwe, right? But every last Friday moving forward, I've said this before, I want to try to figure out how to spotlight some of the important voices in our CVI, community-based violence intervention ecosystem, and I've been wanting to get the returning citizens on for a spotlight for a minute. So I want to just take this few minutes that we have before we go into the next segment to lift up my brother Chino and lift up the work of returning citizens. I was hoping Donna could get on because actually I believe it was with Donna that I actually met Chino, even though his reputation had already been in the streets in the correct way, even before we connected some years ago, right? But glad to have you aboard, beloved. Glad to have you aboard. We definitely want to talk about, for those who are not familiar with returning citizens, right, and why your work is so important, and how we come to the work. What is, your story? What brought you to this table that you help create for brothers coming from some deep difficulties? Because we be coming home from, not from 2 minutes, but from 10, 15, 20, and 30 long bids, trying to figure out how to put the pieces back together. And that's some serious labor, of a huge kind that requires more than just a big heart, but a real struggle to fight for resources that are really wrongly too scarce for those of us very much most in need. So welcome to All Politics Are Local for the first time, and it will not be the last time, little brother. How you feeling today?
I'm tired, brother. I'm tired, but the revolution has to continue, brother. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
yeah, definitely, brother. I know you've been trying to get me on, and just I've been overwhelmed. The work that I'm doing is really important. The work that you do, brother. You know what I mean? I got a lot of respect for you, brother Zaire. And my sister Cookie, who's on here. When I was in Trent State Prison, at the age of 19, she was coming down there. I said, "Who this crazy ass woman coming to Trent State Prison?" You know what I mean? I'm trying to get out. She's trying to get in. You know what I mean? But really quick, man, a quick history on the Returning Citizen Support Group. Right, my brother, one of my co-founders was, our Tariq Witcher, my brother.
Got to get him on too.
Like
That's right.
him, many other brothers, when I was in prison, walking the prison yard, with these brothers, they would come in and out of the prison system 2 and 3 times, and I'd be like, wow, why you see them in the yard, like, yo, bro, damn, why you keep coming back, right? And I'd be like, the food is terrible. They treat your family like shit in visit hall. Like SOG tearing up your cell. They ripping your mail. The CO's pushing up on your girls in the visit. Why y'all keep coming back? And when I came home, that question was answered for me, right? So I did 30 years. When I was 19, unfortunately, I took someone's life, and I went to prison. Came home September 22nd, 2016. From the time I was arrested until the time that I came home, my family was there for me. They never missed a beat. Visits, food packages, whatever I needed, they supported me. When I came home after serving 30 years, my family was outside those gates waiting for me, right? So I share that because, while I had that support, there's a lot of men and women that are coming home after serving, like you said, brother, decades in the prison system, that are coming home to nothing, right?
That's
So when I came home, I realized that, why the recidivism rate was so high and why so many brothers kept coming back into the prison system, because the system is designed for us to fail. But also, when we come home from prison, we are marginalized. You know, like people stigmatize us. They don't want to rent to us. They don't want to hire us. And so, we have to change those narratives. So, I started reaching out to brothers that were in prison with me that came home. Iman Sharif, my brother Ched, Daoud Lambert, these old heads that, helped me grow inside the prison system. So I'm like, yo, bro, I gotta, we gotta get together, because I'm trying to figure out how the hell I stay out here, right? Because it was like, I came into a whole different world and facing a lot of challenges and not being able to, my family not be able to understand the trauma that I was dealing with, right? Because like, one of the things about our organization is that we focus on trauma, because I understand the trauma is what keeps us in that vicious cycle of violence and reincarceration, right? And I took the training, the trauma to trust training, and every opportunity I can, I'm going to take it because I have a lot of trauma that I'm dealing with, right? But in helping others heal, I heal myself. So that, those two experiences, right? Watching brothers come in and out of the prison not once but 2, 3, and 4 times, and then coming home to a supportive family and still feeling lost, right? Gave birth to the Returning Citizen Support Group. But also, when I came home, I went through a reentry program, and I saw that the blueprint that they had was the same one for everybody. And I was like, everybody's different. Everybody have different needs. And so, I said, we got to create something like food, forced by us that's controlled and ran by us, people who are impacted by mass incarceration.
And you definitely did that. And every Thursday, 32 French Street, y'all got it going, right? Tell us about some of your co-founders, and share some of their stories too, because all of y'all got some really incredible stories, and all of you bring something different to the table that y'all built.
Most definitely. I mentioned my brother Tariq Witcher. He is, he went from crackhead, going in and out of the prison system to now being, a homeowner. He owns multiple properties. He has his own property management company. So it's inspiring, when brothers see, Tariq, who was running the streets, stealing your packages and trying to rob you, now to be a productive, transformed man. Then you got my brother. My brother is very bright, intelligent. He graduated Rutgers with cum laude high. Like he's a brainstorm. So we together, man, we put together this team to really change the narrative, to make sure that, the needs of men and women coming home are met, whether it's food insecurity, housing, education, mental health, trauma. And, one of our biggest impediments coming home is housing. That's something that we work on every day. Every day my 2 feet hit the floor, that's the first thing on my mind, man, is, how do we get, to change that narrative so that men and women coming home have a roof over their head.
And that's a big challenge in, on across the country. We don't just have it here in Newark and in Jersey, but we got it across the country. That it's always been one of the pivotal points of oppression and exploitation and degradation of our community. And then when we're in most in need and in our lowest position, it remains to be the most difficult to access, right? And it's another reason that makes an example like Al Tariq's, very, very important to appreciate that he out of that madness, he was one of those who used real estate to forge his way back in his help folks with housing that he's produced himself, and we need to really have that bigger fight in replacing and transforming system space by there's always this wishy-washy talk about a racial reckoning in this country, right? That don't deal with reparations and that don't deal with housing, right? They're the two major things that we absolutely deserve, right? But this country definitely needs a reckoning and a need for a genuine investment in affordable housing. And when someone has done their time, leave them the fuck alone. Leave them alone. Why are we still penalizing for someone who's already done their time? With that question, have you ever been convicted of, right? And if they answer it honestly, you're going to squash them when they've done their time already. So
Brother Saeed,
yes, sir.
the crazy thing, Brother Saeed, is that, we as a society, right? You won't pay my rent for a whole year, right? Which probably say give or take around $30,000 a year, right? But you will incarcerate me for twice that amount. So these are systems that are in place that are designed to keep black and brown people in the system, which is a profitable business, right? But I want to send a shout out, to our mayor, Roz Baraka, future governor of the state of New Jersey, right? Because he has been very open and receptive to, returning citizens, and he has created a platform for us to be able to become developers ourselves. So I definitely applaud that man. I respect him, and I admire, where he comes from and what he's trying to do for the city and changing the narrative for Black and brown people in North.
And we all need to appreciate that. We definitely all need to appreciate that, and I appreciate you coming. Now stay there, because it's time to get ready for the next segment. I don't see Rebecca coming in yet, but as we there, Cuqui, you have been, one of our long distance runners on this very important point, and criminal justice reform is just so inadequate for the language we're talking about, right? But you watch this brother literally come up and change his life, right? And there ain't a whole lot of us that roll like you, how you roll, and that understand why that's important, right? Share your impressions on what he has done and what he and his comrades have done, and why that's so important, and why it's so important for you to support that. You muted. Yeah, you muted. Come on. Yeah. There you go.
Hey. Well, yeah, I've been at this, I started this movement of adult mass incarceration back in early 2000s, but I was working with kids long before that, in the 80s, and I was watching them grow up and have all kinds of problems, right? And then I ended up with kind of a blessing to be gifted to go see that 19-year-old nut over in Trenton State Prison over there, and hundreds like him, and there was so much talent inside those walls that were untapped, that were no permission to be who they are, to grow in any way, just stifle them, just drive them crazy, literally, right? And to watch them, to be able to go in there with this special kind of movement work, which was really not, it was very seriously frowned upon even back then. It was really tricky to get inside the walls and work with these guys and work to a place where we were able to develop this action agenda 20 years ago to say, this is how you fix criminal justice, from law enforcement to reentry. And reentry wasn't a word back then. And it was in a space and a time. We had that summit in 2002. We released the report in 2004. And I thought it was over. We tried to continue to work. And, around 2010, 12, 13, here comes Chino. Here comes Delore. Here comes Sammy Keelis. Here comes Tariq. Here comes Dawood. And they just kept coming out. But when they came out this time, because when Chino came out 20 years ago, he just went to Cuqui and said, hey, what should I do? And I was like, well, there's nothing for you to do. Go over here. You're going to talk to Brother Saeed. He's going to treat you like this. He's open from 9 to 5. And you talk to him like this and try to help him that way, help him get a job. Those kinds of things is what we were trying to do at that time. Yes. But they didn't come out empty, because at that time, one of the things that we worked very hard on was getting prison education and things like the STEP program and things like that. And then they went to college and they came out and they said, you're not alone no more, Cuqui. You're far from alone. Let me show you. Let me stand in front of you. Okay, whatever, right? But this is my lottery. This is my lottery to watch the magic of these human beings come out and shine the way they do. I can't tell you what that means to me in the work that I've done. And I honestly never in my life expected to meet not one of them out here on the street, because they were all lifers. They were all 180 years, whatever. All of that. I never expected to see them walk out and then come out and stand as tall as they do.
That's right.
They stand taller than all of us combined in the things that they have survived. So that's kind of a bit of why I continue to do this. And hopefully later on, I'm going to explain how we are continuing to do this in an upcoming 2-day event in January, where we will change the narrative in incredible ways that I don't know if it has been done before, because they're home now and strive and thrive the way they are.
That's
The
right.
whole-
They're on the front. They're on the front line with us now.
My God, they
Oh,
stand
hell
with us, man. Fall back, Cook. Okay.
Rebecca, how are you, daughter? Welcome to our Politics of Locals. Your first time with us.
Yes.
I'm glad you're able to join us and appreciate the role that you've had. We're going to segue now into this conversation about the clemency report and something that the governor got right. I'm a little hard on the governor with most. and I'm going to enjoy the freedom to do that. You understand? But he got this one right with this executive order. And let me just try and open this up this way, because most folks know me from doing decades of work for our political prisoners. And at the end of every term, we have a push on whatever deadhead is in the White House to do something right before you leave office and then die and go to hell, right? Sign out some of our freedom fighters, and the one before, and we had one that didn't do that. And I'm talking about Mr. Obama. He did one. Obama did one, but he could have done several brothers that he should have, right? But it's often overlooked in state houses, right?
Absolutely.
And this particular state house has a terrible track record in its use of the clemency tool, right? So I'm very proud of my comrades from the ACLU, and most folks know that I have my own ties to the ACLU through NCAP, right? That they have lifted this up, and it represents another fresh arm for the work of the ACLU. I'm shouting the ACLU out in terms of it's broadening its scope in terms of the fulfillment of our constitutional rights, those that we still have. Right?
Yes.
So, Rebecca,
Yes.
as we turn to this conversation, give us an overview and breakdown of just what the Clemency Project is and what can we expect to get from it and how it helps us.
Absolutely. First off, thank you so much for having me, Zaid. And it's so good to see familiar faces. Hi, Chino. Hi, Cuqui. I don't think I've met you yet, Edward. Hello. So, as you know, my name is Rebecca Uwakwe. I'm the decarceration attorney at the ACLU of New Jersey. So I'm here leading the Clemency Project. For those that don't know, I was a public defender for over a decade in Brooklyn before joining the ACLU. And before I even dive into really what the Clemency Project is, I do want to start with a quote by a Nigerian novelist, Chinua Achebe.
All right.
Yes. And he says, if you only hear one side of the story, then you have no understanding at all. And that is what the criminal legal system does. They push one side of the story, and that side of the story is what drives policies. It's what drives legislation and laws that leads to mass incarceration. And so with that said, we're still, I heard Chino and Cuqui talking about changing the narrative. We're constantly talking about a story that's out there. We're talking about a belief system that people hold. And that's the whole point that's what we're trying to change with the Clemency Project. So we can't all do it. We can't all do it with just the Clemency Project. Of course, this is something that needs to have a holistic approach, right? With policies, laws, all of it. But with the Clemency Project, we are specifically addressing mass incarceration, and we're trying to reduce the prison population. So our project at ACLU, it focuses on commutations. And we have two categories that we really focus on right now: survivors of domestic violence who attack their abusers, and also people impacted by the extreme trial penalty. So I'll be happy to explain those things. But essentially what that is, what I'm explaining are categories instead of just naming individuals. Now, usually whenever we think about clemency and pardons, Zaid, you mentioned it, right? When you're talking about freedom fighters, you're thinking about one person in particular, right? Or maybe you could a category can be freedom fighters, right? Or political prisoners, right? But usually when we think about clemency, usually when people talk about it, it's usually like on an individual case by case basis. They're not really thinking about broad strokes and broad categories. And so that was one of the that was one of the major things that we really wanted to advocate to Governor Murphy. And so the National ACLU started a redemption campaign in 2020 where we really were trying to fight and trying to advocate for every single state, every single governor to really utilize their power for clemency. And when I say categorical clemency, I mean that you can give people pardons and commutations based on the category that they belong to. So that could be based on a shared crime, for instance, marijuana offenses, right? Based on age, right? Based on a similar injustice. So that's just kind of like a backstory as to, you know, our advocacy for categorical clemency. And the two groups that we focused on, at least right now, is survivors of domestic violence who attack their abusers. Because right now, I mean, there's a lot of literature across the nation about how survivors are constantly overlooked in the criminal legal system.
And over sentenced.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And also the second category are people impacted by extreme trial penalties. So as you may know, because I'm talking to people that are that know, as you may know, in the criminal legal system, if someone is charged with a crime and they're given an offer by the prosecutor to resolve their case, and they decide to reject that offer and go to trial, most times they end up being penalized because they exercise their constitutional right to go to trial. And we're not talking about like slightly penalized, okay? We're talking about extreme sentences, at least double, sometimes triple or quadruple the prosecution's offer. And the only thing that has changed from before trial, pre-trial, and post-trial is the fact that a trial happened. The facts of the case didn't change. Client's criminal history or lack thereof did not change. The only thing that changed was the fact that someone went to trial. And so we're really looking at excessive trial penalties. I mean, there are cases, I mean, I can really go on.
Jersey stick with that.
Sorry?
Jersey is thick with that, particularly with young juveniles, aging them up for decades.
Exactly. So, you know, I'll be happy to address more of our categories, but I'm also happy to talk about the EO as well.
Right on. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, go ahead. Go right in. Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we were very pleased, as you can imagine, to see the governor's executive order outlining categorical clemency, as I just described. And so there really, there's multiple forms of clemency, but this clemency initiative focuses on two types of clemency, the two most popular ones that you have heard of: pardons and commutations. Now, pardons is when someone is forgiven for a crime and they're basically restored and they have access to other civil liberties. For instance, housing. They don't have to deal with housing discrimination. They don't have to deal with employment discrimination. You're basically erasing the conviction, the effect of the conviction. And commutations either shortens or ends a prison sentence. So someone's sentence can be shortened or they could just be completely maxed out. But basically, commutations applies to people that are currently incarcerated or people that are still serving a sentence. So that includes people on probation, parole. So what you see in the executive order is you see that there are two separate sections. So the first, and I'm talking about when we talk about the actual categories. So it is separated. First, to consider pardons, the governor has stated that there are two main categories that people have to satisfy. It's a time-based category and an offense-specific category that essentially means that you have to either have completed your sentence 10 years ago. Your sentence should have been complete 10 years ago in order to even think about applying. But for those that are 6 years and older, it's shortened to 5 years. And for those that were convicted of a crime under the age of 25, that's also shortened to 5 years. So once you have that time-based category satisfied, then you move on to the offense-based. Again, I'm just talking about pardons right now. And for the offenses, most of them have to be non-NERA. So we're talking about essentially nonviolent offenses, or they have to be referred to by the CRU, the Conviction Review Unit, or the prosecution could also, if they don't have an objection, then they would consider your case. And also if the crime that you were convicted of is no longer illegal. So that's just for pardons. You would have to satisfy both a time-based category and also the offense-based category. Now, for commutations, now that applies to, like I said, people that are currently incarcerated or currently serving a sentence. So that includes people on probation and also on parole. Now, the categories, and this is where my project comes into play, because we are focusing on reducing the prison population. And so we're doing that through commuting sentences. So for this category, you have to either be a survivor of domestic violence or sex trafficking survivor that attacked their abuser or was under duress or coercion of their abuser at the time of the offense. Or you have to be impacted by an excessive trial penalty, which I explained earlier, where you have at least doubled, you're sentenced to at least double the prosecution's offer after having gone to trial. Another category is if your sentence would have been, if your punishment would have been less severe today. All right. So that's another one. And another one is if the crime you were convicted for is no longer illegal. And lastly, a referral by the Conviction Review Unit. I know it's a mouthful. Obviously, this is public information, but that's just essentially the breakdown of the EO.
It's a breakdown that we all need. Because
My pleasure.
It's a new windows of opportunity for some of us and some of our loved ones to finally get the hell out of the chains of mass incarceration, right? And it is indeed a breakthrough. Now let me bring my veterans in and get their impressions on it. And you know, you don't know the great Ed Riley, but that's the crackerjack lawyer right there too. I know Ed gonna have some questions to raise on
nice
some
to meet you.
Too, right? And this is, you know, I'm trying to learn in my old age to call people in instead of always calling them out and beating the hell out of them, right? But, you know, it took us a long, Cookie, bear witness. It took us a long time to get to this space. And it took us a long time to get to this space with this progressive governor too, by the way, right? How much further do we have to go? What are those things that we need to be responsible for and be ready and, you know, to address as we approach this new window to make sure it stays open? And let's be clear too, next year is an election year, right? I just want to throw that in the atmosphere because that's, you know, advances come and go. So I just want to, as an open question, how do y'all see this moving, and what do we need to do to sharpen the question to protect this new window so it stays open?
So I guess I'll go first. I want to celebrate the ACLU and applaud them for all of the work that they do. And they were part of the original team 20 years ago, and they've just grown and gotten stronger and stronger, and incredible, phenomenal people in there, leaders in there. So there. I want to say, I think 4 words. I want to say the word executive order. I want to say the word legislation. I want to say the word directives. I want to say the words portals. And I want to say all of them in the context of they are dangerously fickle. Here comes Zaid Muhammad. Now he's governor. He don't like none of them. And in the blink of an eye, guess what? The only one that holds a different kind of space there, what we would say, and we need to say this publicly, is legislation. Because legislation sticks. So there's a lot of back and forth, and there's a lot to the process of creating and achieving legislation in itself, meaning you have to go through different floors. The assembly got to like it. The budget committee got to like it. Public safety got to like it. Then the Senate does their thing. Then they try to mirror themselves as legislation goes. Then they all vote. Okay, here you go. Then the governor gets it, and he has 45 days to sign it or not. But what happens now? Here's the legislation. Fix it. Most legislation has 12 months to set it up. Why then is it that sometimes you have legislation years later that is still not implemented?
That's right. Implementation. That's the other word. Right on.
So that we've been in this movement for 20 plus years now, and we definitely have been first of its kind in the nation in so many: isolated confinement, juveniles, adults, bail reform, COVID release, and on, body count, racial ethnic impact study legislation.
Come on.
But what is being implemented, and how can that be destroyed? So we celebrate incredible successes here, but we have to protect them. We have to hold them accountable, and we have to stand firm in that. And what happens in Black and brown communities? What happens in advocate communities? What happens is, you fix this one tornado and you have 5 more over here. And it's hard to keep us together that way. It's hard to keep us from getting into silos. It's hard to keep our eye on the prize because it keeps moving, right? And so those are kind of like the bad sides of how I want to kind of like describe this. But I want to say something else too. There is good people throughout state government. There is great people in our communities, and we are not necessarily always able to stand together. So what your minister earlier was talking about with love and taking care of our community and just being there and bringing the love and the energy that we need to stay together is what we really, really have to work on. You, Zaid, you celebrate Governor Murphy now. Just for today, right? No, but honestly, if you think about Governor Murphy and then you think about who could replace him, how many successes have we had under this administration? We even created an Office of Public Integrity and Accountability. Not saying it was
Office of Violence Prevention.
Yeah, a few street teams. Let's celebrate, right? So we have had many successes here, but if we do not protect them and we do not continue to advocate for their implementation, because we've already succeeded in so many ways, and we've left a lot of stuff on the floor when the legislation that got signed was signed, quite a few things were removed from that language that we didn't pick up. So that is what the movement still is. And that is why we should not tolerate silos, not in the Black and brown community. And I will say it that way. We should not tolerate silos. This is a movement, and we cannot do this alone. Okay? That's my...
No. We can definitely add to that. But I want to hear from y'all first before I drop my brown penny in here. Right? Chino, what say you? I know the brothers.
My brother first, yeah, no, definitely. Rebecca, I love you. You know, you're the best. You're the greatest. I mean, for us, when Governor Murphy signed legislation in 2000, giving us the right to vote, that empowered over 80,000 people. And that's not counting our families. That's not counting our nephews, our nieces, our cousins, and our friends. So, you know, at the Returning Citizen Support Group, I got QR codes on all corners of the wall, and I always remind people, if you're not registered to vote, register to vote, because that's where our power is at. Like Cookie said, we have to make sure that this progress that we've made is not taken away. All this progress that we've made can easily be taken away. So, and it's a lot of trauma that affects our thinking and the generational trauma, the disruption of families, the sense of hopelessness. So, we have a lot of work to do. That's why it's imperative that we work collectively as a community, so that we can continue to move this, the torch further, right? But also the clemency is so important, right? Because there's so many men and women that are languishing in prison that shouldn't be in prison, and with the clemency will provide real opportunities for these men and women that are languishing in prison to get out, right? So yeah, and I'm not going to say much because I want to hear more from my sister Rebecca, who is very instrumental in this legislation. But I think, like I said, and I want to emphasize, is that our power lies in our ability to go to the polling booth and vote.
And to add and to go a step further, I'm one of the few lawyers that we can call on in the streets. Attorney Hardaway calls me the unity guy, right? Right, and I laugh at that, but this is a time for a progressive united front going into this election year and going into next election year. Those of us who understand that, those of us who understand the need to not be in those silos that you're talking about, we need to, have some sit downs, Cookie, right? Look at those core bills and those core needs that we need to have, and come up with an agenda and make everybody who's running for office that we can put our hands on. How are you speaking to this agenda? How are you speaking to this agenda, right? Because this is what's important to us. And our folks are ready to support someone willing to speak to this agenda. And we're not at all interested in supporting someone who doesn't, right? It's time to let folks who want our votes know that it ain't gonna come cheap no more. And that there is a new wave of progressive forces and a lot of them are Rebecca's age, they're young heads, right? Younger than me and Cookie. You understand what I'm saying? Right? That represents a new wave of leadership. And out of that new wave, not only can we afford the united front for a united agenda, but we also can produce candidates from within our ranks to replace those who sell us out, to replace those who don't honor what they say they're gonna honor, right? We need to get to some of that too, right? So I just had to just throw that in here, as the OG in the conversation, because our unity is what's happening. You understand, Rebecca?
And really quick,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Before Rebecca go really quick, right? This is a brother. He's a councilman now, in Jersey City, and Councilman Gilmore. Right? I walked the prison yard with him, right? And now he's a councilman in Jersey City. So I tell people we have the power to put our own people in there, right? So, like you said, we have to focus on, not just voting for other people outside of our community, but voting for those that are in our community that are doing the work.
From within our own ranks.
Can I please say something, Rebecca?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm asking for your blessing, okay?
Okay. You the baby daughter in this, Rebecca. It's all right.
Yes,
it's all good.
okay.
You don't put in your work.
My
We got
face.
you. We got you.
Well, first of all, I don't know what Zaire was talking about because I'm only 35, okay? There's that part. The other part is that I am a founding member of the Latino Action Network, and I've been an advocate long before that. We founded in Martin Luther King, 2009, whatever. But one of my roles there and one of the committees that I chaired was the endorsements committee. So I learned a lot through vetting governors and, senators and all of that stuff. And what I wanted to say about that, Zaid, is that, I vetted when Murphy wanted to be governor, the Latino Action Network vetted all of them. right? And some of them really didn't know too much between these two spots right here, right?
Come on, tell it.
So that they were well intended, but they weren't versed on everything that a governor would need to be versed on. So we as a community, because we are not either, what we usually say down there in the community is that this guy's worse than that guy. What that means to me, that's what we say, right? But if we have to do our homework, and we have to see in between those lines, does Zaid have the potential to be holistic? Does he have the potential to develop into the leader that we need? Not only that, but once Zaid becomes governor, look at what I'm doing to him, right? Once Zaid becomes governor, we need to keep in his face. We need to stay there. We need to make sure he's doing what he promised. We need to see if he didn't do what he promised, why? What held him back? Who held him back? What inside that structure does he need from advocates to make that happen? Because we focus on the vote, and we focus on, hey, Chino, go push that button. But we didn't teach Chino what that means. We didn't teach Chino, okay, now Ross ain't mayor no more. What's this next mayor going to do? You're going to go see him in 6 months? Where is his head? And what has he done? We have to build our community to measure those things.
Yes.
And stay accountable to those things. And if there's a reason why Zaid ain't doing the right thing, we have to find out why that is. We either have to help him or hurt him. It's either way. But we all have a job to play, and as long as we do it in a classy, respectful way, he can take that. He knows sometimes there's many subjects that a governor will say or a mayor will say to you, come get me, because they're not going to listen to me. There needs to be an uproar. So when you're working together with leadership, these things really take on a different kind of energy, a hopeful energy, a potential energy for change, literally.
Right on to that.
It has a lifespan if you don't pay mind to it.
Yeah, you sure does. Well, some old stuff, right? Once the late Franklin Delano Roosevelt was elected president, right? The great A. Philip Randolph said, "Well, you got to do some work, Mr. Roosevelt." And Roosevelt just looked at him and smiled and said, "Make me do it." Right? And what was he saying? He said, the developing mass support for an agenda. See, that's what we represent as a united front. We represent mass support and bringing that support forward as pressure, and also to counter potential mass support against what we're talking about. I just came back from LA. Y'all appreciate this. I just came back from LA with Equal Justice USA for the Giffords Conference around community-based violence intervention work and gun violence reform legislation, right? But I ended my trip visiting Black Lives Matter grassroots with my little sister Melina Abdullah. They have a weekly protest that's in front of the ACLU building on one side, but right opposite the police union's building on the other side, right? Why? Why is that important? Because they are the driving forces for the backwards policies that we're trying to fight back and get rid of. And they are well organized, and they keep their critical mass mobilized.
Yes.
And they know how to apply pressure on these forces too. So we need to be real clear about and responsible for what this means to us trying to do this work. It's not enough to be right. You have to fight to win with your righteousness. So yeah, so Rebecca, your thoughts, and then we start winding this segment down. Y'all have been great. It's been really good segment.
Yes, thank you all for the kind words, obviously, and I agree completely. Yes, it has to be legislation. We have to obviously build coalitions within our communities and stand together. But we also have to step outside of our communities, right? Like that's the whole point, right? Because if we're talking about, keeping the momentum up and having people actually still caring and being concerned about our issues, we are going to have to speak and step outside of our communities. And I think that's super important, especially with clemency, something that can be so fickle, where there can be backlash. And, I've seen it in some states. And a lot of it is because there's just one narrative that's being, amplified, and there's just not enough to counter it. And we have enough stories, we have enough facts, we have enough people, we have enough power, but we are not, well, we have to be organized so that we can put it out there, right? And so that's, part of it is, of course, getting involved and sharing your story, amplifying your voice, because you don't need a title, you don't need a position, you don't need any of that. You just need your story and your voice, and that's it, right? And so oftentimes people feel like, they're not qualified to speak up, or no, like I don't want people to think that, because it's just not true. And so the more of us that are willing to stand up and speak our truth, we're going to push and shape that narrative, because whenever there is something that's political like clemency, we have to be prepared to counter those stories with the truth. And frankly, a lot of people have a perception of the criminal legal system that is just not based on reality. And what it's based on is the media and other things, but it's not reality. And so we know, because we obviously are in the system and also have loved ones that have been impacted, but we have to educate the public. That's essentially what I'm saying, because it's without the education and without people actually knowing what's happening, the injustices that's really occurring in the criminal legal system, it's going to be hard to push change. It's going to be hard to survive in administration.
And that's good. That's good black and brown practical political sense, man. Let me tell you something. And I had to relearn this, because that's the politics. That was the practical place that of the politics that I grew up in. Coming out of the '60s and in the '70s, right? We always talked about the need for the inside outside strategy, right? That kind of wisdom is been kind of lost, and our folks on the left, in particular, us hardcore leftists, right, don't even contemplate how to talk to folks who are our community, but are nowhere near where we're at in terms of our positionality, right? And that's a mistake. These kids that I work with at Equal Justice USA, they blew my mind with their whole notion of wellness and whatnot. And I've come study, study, train, fight. That's it. I know nothing about no goddamn well. What is that? Y'all serious? and I was coming out of COVID crazy as hell, right? Anxiety all over the map, right? But they had another arm of their work that just caught me and almost blew my mind. They have a conservative arm that actually has forces within the organization that goes into conservative spaces that have progressive conversations about progressive bills to people who are identifiably conservative, to try and break ground within those camps, right? And EJ started with the death penalty, moving heavy into CVI, community-based violence intervention, and now starting to touch on restorative justice with some fresh blood. And we just had this scenario over the Oprah bill, with those of us who stood up and opposed the gutting of the Oprah bill. We got some forces from not just progressive Democrats, but from some Republicans that stood out about it, right? And I hope, I don't know if it's going to be me that's going to have those conversations, because people run from my crazy ass for good reasons, right? But we need forces within our ranks that are willing to have those conversations, willing to have what Raz read calls the need to speak to middle ground forces, to bring them to opposition, right? To expand the mass line, right? To advance the change that we're talking about. So, I'm Good stuff, y'all. Good stuff. Ed, jump in here. I know you got to say something. I know you chomping at the bit.
Well, no, I mean, we've got other guests in the background. I just want to congratulate everyone. I think that, uh, for someone who has worked in the public defender's office myself, I want to say that kind of work is not the easiest work, but it is, in my mind, some place where we ought to be celebrated, because the people we serve in that environment are really the people who are trying to figure out their own lives at very tough moments. And and most of the attorneys in that environment are overwhelmed. And so for me, I congratulate this sister, but I congratulate, Chica. I mean, every time I see her, I mean, I'm like, where does she get the damn energy from, man? Like, where does she, I mean, and then to still be a DJ.
That's right. What I mean? That's right. She got the music. You can believe that. That's right.
I mean, where she get that from? And like my brother said, right? He said when he see it, he's like, who the hell is this damn lady? You know what I mean? I mean, that's real talk, man.
Once he found out, he was like, he kept her.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all I can say is really just congratulations for all of y'all just staying in the fight, and you're absolutely right. Clemency is something that we need, and anybody who's worked in any of those spaces know that the people who are marginalized and hurt the most are Black and brown people, right? And if we're gonna get out of it, it's gonna take Black and brown people to do the work to get those people out of it.
Out in front, baby. That's right.
So
you should know.
So when he says a Black United Front, when he says we need a Black United Front, he's absolutely right, right? We need that. And unless we create that and really be sincere about that, you're going to have people like my brother there doing 30 years when he probably should have been out in 10, right? Because if we're talking about someone rehabilitating himself, it doesn't take no damn 30 years to rehabilitate yourself, right? When you give yourself to the Lord, one of the things they say is all you got to do is say you accept Jesus and all is forgiven. Well, we're not saying that you don't deserve to be punished. No, we're saying that, but does it take 30 years to punish a man?
Don't do the time, don't serve the time, make the time serve you.
Yeah.
See, when you demonstrate that, all right, then we can have another conversation as we see the transformation of character of the person doing the time.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
So I congratulate all of you and thank y'all.
Chino, you got a shout out from my beloved. I see some Miss Diary. She said you hitting it out of the park, beloved. Right. So I just want to let you know you got some love. We got viewers, really paying attention to what's happening. Ed, you want to ask the ritual question?
Yeah.
We get the segue over.
So, for all of y'all, I mean, we of course, Chica, she already know this ain't a question for her, but of course, for Rebecca and my brother, listen, while y'all out there doing the work in the trenches, we are a political hip hop radio talk show. We've been around now. So is there anything in particular that you guys listen to that gets y'all motivated, keep y'all going, keep you in the fight?
I mean, I'm Haitian and Jamaican, so I listen to a lot of Afro beats, dance hall, like anything reggae, compa. I don't know that. I just feel like whenever I hear, African beats and things like that, anything that makes me, just kind of like escape and just want to just move my body and kind of just be connected. That actually is what moves me and it keeps me going. So Cuqui is the DJ. I'll be the dancer. We'll have a party together. That's
we will.
Time. But
When is Afrobeat? Isn't the Afrobeat Festival coming up soon?
Yeah.
I hope so. Please let me know when.
It's in August. August.
Okay.
August. Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So it's going down in August. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Your turn.
You're muted. Chino, muted.
Unmute.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you just did it
Nope,
again.
you're muted again, bro.
I got him. I got him.
There you go.
So I grew up with the old heads, man, and I listened to the Whispers, Blue Magic, Stylistics. You know what I mean? That was my music. I put that on in the morning when I'm driving, and that stimulates me, man, and that gets me going. But I want to say, you know, we having our annual cookout July 27th. Cookie's going to be DJing. So Rebecca and all y'all are welcome to come.
Right on. Okay. Right on. Okay. I missed it last year. I had to send y'all a package because I couldn't get there.
Yeah.
July 27th.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah, July 27th. It's on a Saturday.
Where's that taking place at?
32 Prince Street, where we have our support group.
Okay.
Greater Conservancy is a great place too.
Yeah, Greater North Conservancy.
Appreciated, one of our environmental justice green spaces that is also, you know, like the home for returning citizens, and what they do is a healthy space for the brothers to be in. You know, most of us come from spaces where we can't even calculate the value of something like that.
What time is that cookout taking place, by the way?
When the DJ get there.
That's true.
From 12 to 6.
That's true. When the DJ gets there, that's absolutely true.
So I do want to drop. I do want to drop a couple. I'm really bad with like names and stuff. So I do want to drop a song for y'all to play.
Okay.
It's called "Blessed" by WizKid, and it's an Afrobeat song. But listen, the whole point is, like, I know we're talking about all of the reform, clemency, all of the issues, but at the end of the day, for people to recognize that they have life and they're blessed, and you know, sometimes you just got to bring it down to the basics, right?
Yeah.
And you know, with your life, you can still do something with it because you're still here, right? And so I like to listen to a lot of cultural music that really, like, it just breaks it down and makes it so simple for you to just wake up and feel grateful to be alive.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. There you go. There you go. Beautiful.
I have more, but you know, we'll save that for later.
Well, that's the kind of show this is, right? That's the kind of show this is, and Cookie gonna turn it up at that cookout. I'm looking forward to some of that. Yeah, I'll see if I can.
I need my dancer, so I'm gonna let you know that I'm definitely with Chino, because I'm only 35, but I go back to all of that Shy-Light stylistic moments. Let me just stop. Black Ivory, don't even get me started, right? Who knows Black Ivory? I don't know.
Straight out of Harlem.
You never heard of that?
Straight out of Harlem.
But my peoples are Nas, I'm a Poxter, KRS, AZ, and that. But I'll also tell you that in addition to the cookout on the 27th, I just got confirmed yesterday to be the DJ and the sound person for this August 6th National Something in Nat Turner Park. It's going to be a cultural event. So the flyers ain't ready yet. I think Chino's flyers will be ready before Monday. We was waiting on somebody who didn't respond, so we're going to finish this off real soon. I would ask us to please join the Integrated Justice Alliance, because I run that. That's real news on Facebook, and it keeps us absolutely current as it comes to criminal justice reform and this movement. And please be there. Okay, I think that's
just got out
it.
of Facebook prison too, so yeah, right on. Glad to be back.
Yo, I'm done. I'm his new groupie. DJ Rhino rocks, man. You coming to the cookout? He got to bring to DJ Rhino rocks. Groupie number one.
Rhino is our man. He is our man. All right, good talk, y'all. Good segment. Appreciate what everybody has done and everybody is doing. Chino, Rebecca, you know, this is the first time and ain't gonna be your last time.
It will.
We gotta, we need to connect to the offices sometime. You know, both offices too. Chino and Rebecca both, right?
Absolutely.
So y'all keep doing what you're doing. We keep turning it up. Anything gets hot, this is an open mic for you. Just let us know. All right.
Right.
All right.
Thanks for
You
having
know
me.
what it is.
Thank you, my brother, for creating the platform.
Yes.
Right on, baby. Right on. Right on.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate
Like
you,
always,
Saeed.
family.
All
Chino,
right. Right on.
Cookie. Nice
Enjoy
to
your
meet you.
weekend.
Right
All
on. Right on.
Y'all
All
too.
right, Rebecca.
All right. Take care. See you soon. Bye.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Okay,
Good stuff.
I can close it now. Am I still there?
She actually would have been good to stay on because she is a ferocious DJ. And she would appreciate you, though. she would definitely appreciate it.
Can
Yo,
you guys hear me clear? It's
yeah,
lagging
go
a
ahead.
little bit on my side. It's good?
Yeah, we hear you.
Can you guys hear?
Yeah,
Okay,
we can-
I'm just making sure it was just lagging a little bit on my side. I'm in DC right now picking up my mom, and it was going in and out with the no, not the Wi-Fi, but the service. Yeah.
Yes, very good.
So let's talk about it, man.
Hold on one second. Let me see. All right. What were they talking about? You guys were talking about clemency with the lady and with the lady
Governor, the New Jersey Governor Murphy just signed by executive order the Clemency Project. It's a gateway that like complements the parole board for people with certain cases like real long sentences or advanced age or some bad sentences defending this like women who dealing with domestic abuse and defending themselves and wind up doing time taking out the person who've been beating on them for decades. Those spaces. It's a new space that has been underutilized in a lot of states, and Jersey's definitely been one of the states where it's been underutilized, and we were just lifting up. Murphy's did that on Juneteenth. So he did a
all right.
form of gesture on Juneteenth, and all the folks that were involved were in the building. And we wanted to make sure that we lifted it up right here on this platform. So yeah, that's what
Nice,
you
nice.
back into that. Yeah.
Nice. I wish I would have tuned in earlier, but I'm definitely going to tune in and do some more due diligence and research on that. But that sounds like something that's definitely needed.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So let's talk about your music, my brother. I mean, one of the notes I got here was talking about the project you're working on now, based around your music with therapy that reduces stress and violence.
Yes. Yep. So for those who don't know, I'm from East Orange in Newark, New Jersey. I graduated from high school in Science High School in Newark. Mr. Austin was actually my debate coach while I was at Science High School. I was number 3 in the nation in debate.
Of course, yes, claim that.
So I won a state championship, a regional championship, a bunch of stuff. I was almost number 3 in the nation under Mr. Austin's tutelage during my time with him. So
he paid you to say all that, right? He paid you to come
I tell people this all the time because a lot of people don't even believe that about me because of the image of the music that I do. But I like to let people know that aside from the music and the fun, there is a side that's very involved in education and community and just overall trying to move our community forward. Hello? Yeah.
You're good. We got you.
I always like to give Austin his props. I like to give him his props because he played a very pivotal role of the trajectory of my life when I was in high school. I started off getting in trouble, and he kind of set me off on a path that helped me shift in a whole nother direction to where I was able to go to college, get my master's in business, and do a lot of things that I wasn't even thinking about doing at the time until me and him met, and he kind of cultivated the way that I thought and the way that I thought about life and looked at life in general, long term. So I like to always give him his props on that.
And he deserves that. He deserves that, and we lift you up for being someone who listened and learned, right?
Yeah.
And seeing how you developed, right? In fact, I got to share this because I would love to hear your thoughts on this in another conversation. This year is the December is the 60th anniversary of Malcolm's legendary debate at Oxford, right? December 4th, 64, right? Put him on top of the world.
Yeah.
Only less than 2 months to live, right? But it was an incredible moment. This ex-thug from the streets of Harlem and in Boston, you know, on top of the world, wasting the baddest white folks in the universe. And I'm trying to figure out a debate anniversary that, you know, that really lifts that up. Now, you praise the teacher, he getting ready to get married that same week. So whatever we do with him can't be that week. We can't hold up the boys' wedding dance, right?
Oh man,
We definitely need to have a conversation about how to mark that anniversary, you know. But just put that in the back of your head, because we would love to pull you into that conversation for real. All right. Now go ahead. Now tell us about what you're doing, because this is healthy. This is healthy stuff.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is, so when it comes to music, right? I'm the actual I'm the creator of a genre of music based here in Newark, New Jersey, which is the fusion of Jersey club music and hip hop. The first person to actually rap on Jersey Club, the first person to give Jersey Club a hip hop format to where it can be transformed from just a local phenomenon to now a worldwide and international genre and style of music that not just ourselves in New Jersey and Newark enjoy now, but mainstream hip hop has taken a hold to it, as well as the whole international music scene. Jersey Club and house music has given me a platform to where I can see the world now, and I can see the world doing the things that I enjoy doing, which is music, which is performing, right? And I literally just came back off tour in Brazil, and every country that I go to, in their own language, they're performing Jersey club music with their own twist on it, and they watch videos, whether it be through YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, to learn our dances and our cadence and our characteristics and incorporate it into what they do. And so when we just came back from Brazil, you know, we were kind of thrown back because these Brazilians went out of their way to learn our style just to be able to enjoy our show. And we're talking about thousands of Brazilians. Like we were the first, I believe from what they told us, we're the first Americans to perform in the favelas. So
wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. So even in the deepest of their ghettos and most impoverished neighborhoods, they're still tapped into our culture, and they were able to all be pulled together in peacefulness under, you know, just enjoying music together. You know, and
people
the
should
favela
know
that we performed in.
Yeah. I want people to just how I want people to appreciate what, you know, the depth of what you're talking about. Brazil is the largest African population in the Western Hemisphere, the largest and the oldest. And by virtue of Brazil also being a settler colonial state like the United States, it is also one of the most oppressed. Right? So in spite of that, the Africanity of the African personality still is a huge basis for the resistance of our people in their dignity in that space. Go ahead, son. Keep rolling.
Yeah. And so, you know, I don't know if people really know the depth of what like a favela is, but similar to our underserved communities, that's their much more extreme version of what the projects would be, right? That's their extreme version of poverty. You know, they're at war with the police. Like, we're at war with the police on one level. They're literally at war with the police. If the police come into their favelas, bullets fly. So even in the midst of the war, you know, I was able to see with my own two eyes the way that music and culture brings people together regardless of the language barrier. We performed in English, right? So regardless of the language barrier and things like that, people were still able to come together. And, you know, from what I know about it, music is therapeutic. Music is therapy. Bringing that home to what I do in Newark. I also have worked as a registered behavior therapist. I work with the autistic community. I work with children with behavior disorder. I work with children with emotional disorder. I work with children that are high risk, meaning in and out of the system, or have a high risk of going into the system because of the neighborhoods that they live in, the gangs they're affiliated with, or the trauma that they have experienced in their past. And I work directly with these kids for the past decade, right? Before my music took off, this is what I was doing as a job to be able to fund my music and design and entertainment career. So I was always living a double life, always had one foot in the community, always was able to see, you know, what our youth is going through before they become adults going through the same thing or beaten down or traumatized by the same thing. And through working with the youth and working with one client at a time or one classroom at a time or one school at a time, I began to think to myself, why don't we put this all under one roof where I don't have to live a double life anymore, and I could bring the music component and the entertainment component and the film component and the art component together, along with behavior therapy and art therapy and music therapy, and give these kids one roof where they can enjoy these things and get their therapy and get some tutoring and mentorship and education. So the project that I'm working on is called ACE, which stands for the Academy of Creative Excellence, right? ACE. And I put together a proposal and a plan, which, I'm already kind of doing part of the plan. I do work with the kids. Anytime I do a show in Jersey, I try to bring out as many kids from the neighborhood to perform with me. Anytime that I can speak at a school or do some mentorship, I try to do that. I go out my way to do it, whether it's free of charge or not. And the thing that I think is beautiful about this program is that if we were to find a space to bring all of this under one roof, these children would not only have access to these services that many of them don't have the access to, but they would also have access to individuals like myself who are experts in behavior therapy and emotional therapy and understand these disorders to a certain degree, where we have the patience to maybe deal with the kids that maybe some schools or some educators or just some parents are under-equipped or don't have the knowledge to be able to deal with, right? At the same time, we're putting them in a position where through the music therapy and through having a program where maybe you can learn music production while you're getting your therapy, or maybe you have the option to learn to play an instrument while getting your therapy, or maybe you have the option to learn how to, record yourself as you rap or you sing or you hum or you do your poetry. You're not just getting the therapy, but you're also learning how to turn your talent and your hobby into possibly your business and your passion and your dream. And it's a building where these two things can intersect, and you can actually turn your talent or the thing that soothes you into something that might take you around the world or further than your current condition. Or if that's not your choice, it's somewhere where you can come to just get the knowledge of, and maybe you and your friend group, you can spread that knowledge to your friend group in your neighborhood and say, you know what? While the 10 of us are in New Community Project dancing outside in the hallways all day, let's go to a dance studio. You know what? Let's try out. Let's go through this list that Unicorn has given us of shows for the next 3 months, and let's see if we can get out of the project staircases and on these stages, right? Let's see if we can get from the basements of these buildings or these basketball courts with no protection that are in our neighborhoods, and maybe we can perform or reach people that are on major stages. Or instead of taking my little camera and shooting a music video in my house and doing content where I'm sharing a space with 3 to 4 to 5 people, let me just go down to ACE. Let me see if I can borrow the space at the ACE Community Center, and let's use their film equipment and their film studio and work with Nemi Hendricks or these other directors from out the city and shoot a real video. Or let's join the internship program and see if we can get experience doing film or learning lighting or learning editing or learning editing software. And these are all things that I could get my hands on, but they're separated in separate spaces, right? I work with a film team. We have a film studio. I work with a fashion design team. We have a separate place where we manufacture clothes. We have a separate place where we sell clothes in the mall. We have all these different things that I have access to, but they're in separate spaces. I think that the Academy of Creative Excellence can be a place where we bring all these things under one roof. I think it'll be highly impactful because we can bring the individuals who have the influence and the reach under one roof. And giving that type of access to the kids, as well as kids on the spectrum, or as well as kids that are considered in crisis or at need or at risk, we could change the at risk to low risk. We could bring the low risk to no risk. And that's the plan that I have to bring to the city of Newark. I work with the Office of Violence Prevention. I see what they've done with, I've done 24 Hours of Peace multiple years. I'm on the board for Artists Against Violence. I do all these things individually on my own, and I think I myself, along with my network of comrades, could be a lot more effective in the city under one roof, with one directive, with some type of budgeting or funding, and with individuals around us that also are like-minded and want the best thing for our city, not just Newark, but Essex County and New Jersey in general. This is something that doesn't have to stop within our space. The three of us are talking virtually. Imagine we were talking virtually to somebody in Chicago or Detroit,
right,
family
exactly.
in LA or the Bay Area who's going through the same things. We can offer those virtual programs as well.
Brazil.
Yeah, even overseas.
Yeah.
I was a part of this program called Rising Tide Capital Business Community Action Program. They helped me refine my business plan. Out of over 100 and something, maybe 200 participants, this proposal won the award, got a small grant, and was given a recognition by the founders of Rising Tide Capital in front of the whole community and all the students who are part of the program. And that's really what gave me the I already believed in it, but once that happened, I said, you know what? This is something I gotta get the ball rolling on. You know, I already had many pieces to this puzzle put together. Let's see if I can find a place, a home, and really get this program started. And I told Austin about it. Austin said, you know what? Come on the show today and, you know, talk about it amongst his comrades and this audience right here. And so here we are today.
So let me ask you a question. You know, where have you shopped your proposal in the city?
I actually have not shopped the proposal yet. I recently just finished the program end of January, I want to say, and directly after that, I went on tour for music. So I've been out the country for months now. I just got back maybe two or 3 weeks ago. But I did talk about it to a lady in Newark who has a small building on Chancellor Avenue. Currently, this program is being considered by the Summer Youth Employment Program, right? And the city has given me 20 youth to work with over the summer, starting in July 15th. So the lady has donated her building for me to bring these 20 students to and work with these 20 students on, you know, giving them work and job-related training around music, film, photography, dance, and art. And Chancellor Avenue School is across the street. So our doors will be open to any families who want to have their children either volunteer or get some mentorship while I'm running this program on Chancellor Avenue over the summer. But while I'm doing it there, I will be shopping it to other people. I haven't shopped it to anybody yet. But like I said, I do hope to find a space and a home to get this project started.
I have another natural partner for you also in the hub with Al Tariq Best and his crew. They have
New Direction?
Yeah, no, not yet. New Direction is in the space.
Yeah, those are my boys.
Yeah. That's a natural space for you to be in, and they've got production capacity within the space and whatnot too. So you know, so we definitely need to have some follow-up conversations beyond the summer.
Definitely.
You know,
definitely.
They're about that. They're definitely about that for real.
I've been down to the hub. I'm actually scheduled to do a couple talks down at the hub. I do think I might need a bigger space, but that's something that can grow into.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think the hub is a beautiful thing that's in the city as a resource, and you know, I've definitely been doing my part to help the brothers down there. You know, a lot of them are actually really good friends of mine.
Right.
So
Indeed.
Love the hub.
So you know, when you talk about your level of closeness with Mr. Austin, as you know, Jonathan and Roger Leone are best friends, right?
Yes, I work with Roger Leone as well.
Right. So if you're talking about shopping, what you're talking about, and as you know, a lot of young people, particularly in the city of Newark and in the Newark school system, have violence issues, right, and have conflict issues and all of those things, and music sort of helps them, right? Their art sort of helps them. You know, and for me, like Zaid, what helped us coming up as young men was that we had boxing. Right, we had sports.
Yep.
And
sports played a major role.
Right, and so that played a major role in terms of where my life went and how things turned out and shaped for me. I would say that your proposal ought to be shopped to Roger.
Definitely,
right? You know, where John could be instrumental, right, and not only introducing you on that level, right? But but shopping that, because I think that what you just presented to us is absolutely an incredible. I mean, to take club music and then infuse it with hip hop and in this whole direction you going in around trying to help these kids deal with the emotional trauma and violence in their life. I mean, and remember, Newark is focusing very heavily in the arts area, right?
Yes.
So, that stuff is very, very important. And the fact that you were once a troubled teen yourself, right? And
Correct.
one of the things that Les Brown likes to say all the time is, he talks about, your story will elevate you to your dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've already said that. You said that what has happened is that just based on meeting John Austin, your life has turned around. You're now able to see your dream. Your dreams are taking you all over the world. And now you wrote this proposal for your city, right? Here's
Correct.
something to believe that not only, could be beneficial for what is done for me, but it could be beneficial for other young people. And I think
That is
that the
correct.
way you presented it here is the way you presented to Roger. And they've got buildings and spaces in Newark, right, that are under the Board of Education control, and they've got those children, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that need your help. I was part of a meeting yesterday with Councilman Dupre Kelly, who
Yes.
has a basketball tournament that's coming up for 13-year-olds, right? That is going to be played in the projects, right?
Yeah.
And he's specifically doing that at that age, and of course he's working with another famous recording artist to do this. But again, it is about young people, right?
Correct.
Because they see the need to be able to take sports and then do something around sports to be able to help these young people, not only one turn their life around, but see their dreams, right?
Yes.
And so I
Yeah.
think the fact that you took the time to write the proposal, you took the time to think about it, and like I said, your story, right, is your testimony. And
Correct.
I think that would be incredible. Not only one for us to see that come to fruition, but more importantly to see how it would affect other young kids in that environment. And I'm sure you
Yeah.
share that with Rhino. I mean, Rhino, being an artist himself, you know, just incredible. Rhino, he just wrote a proposal, but what he did was he took club music, the Newark club scene, and he infused hip hop into that music. As you know, in New Jersey, house is very popular in this town, almost like
Mm-hmm.
go-go is in Chicago,
In DC.
in DC, right? Where you
Yep.
are,
Yep.
right? And I mean, I tell you, I'd love for one to hear that, man, for you to send me a track and let me hear what that sounds like. And Rhino. I mean, and I'm sure, Bob
Definitely.
Said has just been called 100 years old, so I don't even know if he listens to music anymore.
Now, it's something that everybody can appreciate, and the thing that I think is special about the proposal being from Newark,
Yeah.
and we kind of, I feel like we're kind of dropping the ball on this because we don't. Okay, so every city has like their brand, right? So when you think about Miami, you think about palm trees and whatever, whatever. When you think about Texas or Houston or LA, there's sort of something. There's a draw or attraction to that city, right? And in the past couple of years, since club music has become popular in hip hop, what I'm realizing is around the country and around the world where they are enjoying club music, they're starting to do their research and they're understanding. Listen, this comes from Newark. When they think of Newark, they're starting to think of house music and dance.
Wow.
Newark has a brand that we are not capitalizing off of, and we have a lot of young superstars here that are not being really held up as superstars. We have a genre of music that the world is embracing, but yet,
Newark and Chicago are the mommies and daddies of club of house music. Ain't no doubt
yeah,
about it.
the world is embracing this like on a major level. I'm talking about every major star that you can think of is using Jersey Club on their records. And we have a chance to say, listen, we're doing music therapy, and the people that are making this music, yes, Club Zanzibar, the people that are producing this music they're not people in their 20s or 30s. These are teenagers from Newark that are producing Jersey Club. Ages 15 to 25 are the main producers of this music, right? So it's almost like being in New Orleans and not embracing jazz. You know what I'm saying? We should be embracing club music and these youth and these teenagers, and a space for them to be able to produce safely or learn how to produce or have access to equipment should already be readily available for them, you know? And I think just on a marketing standpoint, the fact that we're one of the most popular genres out there, you know, it's the #1 trending genre on TikTok, and that's huge. Music therapy in the city of Newark with the most popular genre of music globally, that should be a no-brainer. We should be taking advantage of the fact that we're on top
Using
right
the
now.
house and gospel is wild.
Yeah. But even all of that is starting to, even gospel music is starting to infuse the club.
Yes, I'm getting that. Yes.
Everybody's doing their own fusion, and the genre is growing and doing what it does. But while it's growing and while it's doing what it does, I think that we should be making sure that we give the youth and the people in our city who are the backbone of this genre and the backbone of our city and the future of our nation in general.
Go ahead, son.
We should be, we should have a place where we can capitalize on what's happening, right now, just globally and in pop culture. We're very big. Our culture is very big right now, and it's hard to see if you're in Newark looking outwards. But somebody like me that's traveling and looking from outwards inwards and seeing what the people outside are saying about Newark. I mean, I've just been featured in 4 documentaries. I never would have thought I'd be in a movie or in a documentary before. I was featured in 4 documentaries because
name it so we can put it back out.
Okay, the most recent one is called The Jersey Sound. They just had a movie premiere at Asbury Park 2 days ago, and The Jersey Sound covers music in New Jersey back from the Frank Sinatra days. It covers Bon Jovi. It covers the 70s through the 2020s. Every band you could think of. I mean, I was in the theater with people that were part of rock bands from the 70s that I've never even met before. And by putting a face, club music has always been a sound, but by adding rap to it, I was able to put a face to it. And by putting a face to our sound, now I'm able to be featured in movies and stuff. I never in a million years would have thought I'd be in documentaries, right?
Wow.
And it's documentaries that's highlighting the city of Newark. So even all these older rock musicians that don't necessarily probably even like hip hop, they're still giving props. Like, listen, if we're talking about the Jersey Sound, yes, you got to give props to Frank Sinatra. You got to give props to Bon Jovi. You got to give props to these, bands from the 80s and the 90s, these punk rock bands. But Bruce Springsteen. But you can't deny the fact that today, Jersey Club is the Jersey Sound, and that's what they highlighted in this latest movie they just dropped the other day. And I'm just thinking, if we can be parts of movies, we can also have children in our academy that's learning how to film and edit and do background work on movies, because now we have access to all these directors. I had dinner with the director of the movie. I had dinner with his network, the people that he's meeting with from Hulu and Netflix, where he's shopping the movie. Big things are happening because of our culture, and I want Newark to also take part in the big things that are happening, globally. Otherwise, just the people with the network are going to capitalize on this. Right.
They pass right by us. Name another 3 flicks.
Serato. I don't know. Well, Rhino, you know what Serato is, right?
Yes, sir.
Serato just did a documentary. I can't remember the name of it, but it's on my page. I'll look it up. It's on my Instagram. I just posted it. They just dropped a documentary on Jersey Club as well, highlighting myself, DJ Fade, and Unique, who's another international Newark DJ. She's a black female DJ that does house and club, and she travels international as well. And she raps and sings on Jersey Club as well. She's collabed with Beyonce. She's collabed with Chloe Bailey. Like I said, big things is happening, but it's happening for a few. And there's many kids. Like, I get my beats from these kids, but then I'm the one touring because it's my vocals on the beats. But I get my beats from these kids, and I think it's a special thing that's happening. I think our kids are special, and they're doing special things, not just for club music, but they've been doing special things. They've been doing special things in film. Boxing. You got the Chance brothers out of East Orange. I know their father, Shakur Stevenson. There's special things happening in Essex County and in our communities, and I think that with the network that I have and the people that we all know, we should be able to bring these people together so that we can take the youth that don't have access and say, listen, bro, come with us.
Do with this, yeah.
Hang with us for a week. Work on my video. Say, you know what? Take this laptop, sit here, and learn how to edit with my editor. You don't need to be outside doing this, that, and the third when I know you have this talent. And when we can give them this opportunity with people that they can actually see and touch and feel, and we can show them videos like, look, we just came back from Colombia. Look, we just came back from, over Japan. Their eyes will open, and they'll say, wow, maybe I don't need to be a Blood or a Grape Street Crip. Maybe I need to be
beyond the block.
Maybe I need to be a violinist. Maybe I need to be a boxing coach. Maybe I don't need to be in front of the camera. I can be behind the scenes, right? So the opportunities are endless, but it's the access to the opportunities that I want to increase. And I want to increase them for the most at-risk and underserved, because I've been working with them for the past decade. I feel as if I understand them. I come from the same place they come from. My neighborhood is very known for gang culture, right? I'm from the same neighborhood as Naughty by Nature. I was there when the first red bandana touched the soil. I was a kid watching this happen, like, wow, what's going on here? Why are we dancing like we're from Cali? I remember getting the first orders and directives for what to do to be a Blood. I was there for that. So I understand where these kids are coming from. I understand the regime. I understand the peer pressures they go through. And I feel like I could be a testimonial. And the people around me are also testimonials. New Direction, they're testimonials, right? A lot of us are testimonials. And I just want to, bring this idea to fruition, and I want to see the city flourish.
Name the other two.
Okay, hold on. Then the other one is, we got the Jersey Sound. We have the Serato documentary. I'm trying to think of the company that did the other one. Let me think. Hold on. There's one that hasn't dropped yet. I would have to flip this up and go on my Instagram and look, but then
that's something to come back to us with too, because those are conversations we can lift up too on these films.
Yeah. But we've been a part of a lot of films and documentaries, and just things are happening that I never thought would happen, and it's happening because people gave me opportunity and chance and uplifted me, and I want to do the same thing, be able to provide those same opportunities for our youth.
So let me ask you a question.
Because I work with the film team in Newark and we shoot a lot of videos, I'm able to see, what's happening with them. I see the talent, and then I see what they do once the cameras go off and they go back to selling drugs. Like immediately once the cameras go off, they turn right back around and they go back to selling the drugs on their block, or they go back to their cars and put the guns right back in their waist, or they go right back to their apartment buildings and do what they were doing before they were performing, and after our video crews pack up and leave. And when I see that makes me sad. Like, damn, y'all just showcased all this talent, and then y'all went right back to what could possibly, take you away from your friends and family. But if they had a place to go, maybe they wouldn't have to do that.
So let me ask you a question. Do you know Rhino?
I feel like I've heard the name, and I've definitely seen you before. I recognize the face. I don't know if we've met in person before or not, but I definitely recognize the face and I've seen the name.
So you need to build with Rhino. Rhino create beats, and Rhino is a premier DJ. He's been around, for a while, and and be interested, man. There's another brother that comes on. You probably know. Brother Hakeem Green. He from Channel Live.
I know Hakeem. Yeah, I know Hakeem very well.
So, you might want to build with these brothers, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In terms of that. Rhino, have you heard his music before?
No, I haven't heard his music before. Not yet. But I was gonna say, when you were talking about mixing hip hop with house, that takes me back to like the late 80s, early 90s when we had hip house. You know what I'm saying? When Jungle Brothers came out with Girl Out House You, you know what I'm saying? And Coming to My House with Queen Latifah, you know what I'm saying? Like that was when hip hop and house music had finally fused, and it blew up like crazy. You know what I'm saying? And so it it would be dope to just kind of see that come back, like for today's era. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See how that works, because definitely, because you know, I started off in New York, and when I first moved out here, it was pretty much like the end of '84, the beginning of '85. When I first moved out to Newark, Newark wasn't even messing with rap music like that. Only my generation, a few kids, that was of my generation were really into hip hop like that. But Jersey was strictly house music, and it's still that way. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, that's the Jersey sound. House music is the Jersey sound. You know what I'm saying? Right. And if you want to relate to anybody in New Jersey, if you want to connect to anybody in New Jersey through music, it's got to be through that. And if you want to use hip hop or anything else to go in, you know, people use Afro beats and all kinds of stuff to go into to house music. You know what I'm saying? Just to relate and connect with the people. Yep. You know what I mean? So much respect for that.
Thank you. Yep.
Yes, sir.
So Rhino, we throw it to you, my brother.
All right. What we got? We just got a few minutes. So what I want to say is, you know, speaking of the late '80s, 1988. I think we were talking about this last week.
Yes.
1988 was a pivotal year for hip hop. It was one of those years where you had the full variety, the full scope of artists that were you know, bringing it to the table, man. I mean, you had people from NWA to MC Lyte to Public Enemy, Big Daddy Kane, De La Soul, Run DMC, King T. I mean, you had people from all over the place, man, that were releasing albums in 1988. Today is actually the anniversary of two of those albums. One is Big Daddy Kane, Long Live the King, back in 1988. And we definitely got to say rest in peace to Mr. C, who was a huge part of this album. You know what I'm saying? So rest in peace to Mr. C. But 1988, on this day, Long Live the King came out, Big Daddy Kane. This was his debut album. Rest in peace also to Biz Markie, who helped put him on and get his record deal. But you know, that was the album that had Raw, Set It Off, Ain't No Half Stepping. You know, it had the debut song that he did with Biz, Just Rhyming with Biz. So that was a huge album. Like the whole album was just
the emergence of the golden age.
Yeah, that was definitely a golden era. And then so I know you asked what was on the chest.
Yes, sir. There it is.
This was another album that came out on this day back in 1988. Wow. This was huge, man. This, to me, I always say these guys were the most important hip hop group in the world, man. The most important because of the information, the knowledge that they brought. They brought so much with this album, man. This was it's called "It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back." This was actually the second album. This is the sophomore album, but this is the album that had "Bring the Noise," "Don't Believe the Hype," "Louder Than a Bomb," "Show Me What You Got," "Night of the Living Bassheads," "Black Steel," "In the Hour of Chaos," and then of course my favorite, "Rebel Without a Pause." You know, "Prophets of Rage." All of that was on this album. This album is another one that was just full of hits, man. This was full of hits. The most revolutionary album that we've ever had in hip hop. So big salute to Chuck D, Flavor Flav, Professor Griff, Terminator X, Johnny Juice, the S1Ws. Big ups to all of them. And congrats. So that's it, man. That's what's going on today, man. Just been celebrating those two albums, and you know, I've been doing personally. I've been doing vinyl sets. You know, all these records that you see behind me. I've been I spent like a whole night the other night just cleaning up all my stuff and organizing my stuff. So I've been doing vinyl sets. That's what I'm doing all summer. So, but they're pop up, so there's no scheduled times. But the people can go to twitch.tv/RhinoCMZ. And just make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified for when I do go on. Make sure you hit the follow button and the subscribe button as well. But that's what I've been doing. That's what's happening for this summer until September when I come back with the shake up.
Well, it's amazing that you still got those albums, Rhino. It's amazing,
man.
You know, do you have insurance on them things, man?
Nah, I need to. I need
to.
Man.
I mean, you must kind of fire up in there and lose them albums, brother. You know what I mean? That'd be crazy. If I was you, I'd call Geico in the morning, brother. I'd be like, yo, I need some homeowner insurance up in here, brother. You know, you know, it's funny, man, because I when I was looking at that, I was saying, man, I remember, man, my brother and I, we used to have a lot of albums, man. And I don't even know where those things are now. It's, you know what I'm saying? And I can only, it's like if I thought about my father used to have these 8-track tapes, man, that he used to play in his car. I don't even know what the hell ever happened to them 8-track tapes. Kids don't know nothing about no 8 tracks and all of that stuff.
They didn't last long, but they definitely marked. They were definitely a 70s marker.
Definitely.
But you know, you would see, you know, you think about it, that stuff would be in museums now. You know what I'm saying? That's almost like if you think about Run DMC sneakers when they first came out wearing sneakers with no shoestrings, right? That should have been a museum now, brother. But that actually happened in our generation. It actually happened. Everything with young people now is digital, right? Everything with them now, they can get on their phone, they can go to YouTube, they can download it. When you talk about playing vinyl, I mean, they're like, what, a record player, a needle? You really, that's how it went, right? Yeah. That's how they made records. And what I'm saying is that is amazing. I remember somebody was telling the story recently, Rhino, where they were saying, I can remember when Tower Records was open, how we used to be able to go to Tower Records on Broadway, or we used to be able to go to the one in the Village, and you could actually play a record before you bought it, right?
Yeah, that's how it was at Tower Records. I used to work right next to Tower Records back in '91, so I used to go into Tower Records all the time.
Which one?
The one on Broadway on what was it, like 60-something Street?
Okay.
The one that was right on the corner. And then also, but where I used to play the records, you know, I was talking about them before. I just did a gig over there recently at Rock and Soul Records in New York downtown. They were down in the fashion district. They were on 7th Avenue. Now they're between 5th and 6th. But they used to be on 7th Avenue, you know, near Madison Square. But we used to be able to go in there. Me and my boys used to always go on the Rock and Soul. And just like you said, you know, they would have the record player there. So if you wanted to hear the record before you bought it, you'd be able to play the record. You know what I'm saying? And hear what you were buying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was back in the days, man. I miss those spots, man. Rock and Soul, Vinyl Mania, Disco Mania, Music Factory, all of those records. And then out here, I remember Moving Records, Blazing Sounds, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why I say you need insurance. That's why I say you need insurance, because somebody mess around and see you on the air, they'd be like, where you live at? You know what I mean? Mess around and get you for your vinyl, brother. You know, Rhino, remember?
Vinyl's making a comeback too.
Yeah.
Everybody's playing 45s.
And I'm telling you,
everybody's playing these now, the 45s.
Oh my God!
Everybody's playing these now.
Wow.
Tons of them.
Yeah. I remember I used to go to the store and buy those for my mother, man, because it was like James Brown would make a song every week, brother. And we stayed in the record store every week. He had a hit record, you know what I mean? And they all sound the same, but damn, we were buying them every week. They were like, I don't know, maybe they were like 35 cents. You could go buy the record, you know what I mean? Was amazing.
Now for 145, they want like $16, $17, $18, $20 for 45.
Yes. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I remember, man.
I used to get them for $1. I used to get them for $1.
Yeah. I used to go buy the records for my mother when Tina Turner, that was her favorite artist, would make a record. Or, you know, I would go and get Aretha Franklin. You know, I remember all them records I used to go buy. But you know what I was going to say, Rhino? You know, the thing is, man, I remember too, when all the DJs were coming around when I was younger, I remember dudes used to who learned how to be the apprentice DJs, they would carry the DJs records, right? For them. to all their clubs and all of that, all the records.
Yeah.
Now everything
they used to also hand them to them too. If they're especially like for the hip hop DJs or just the DJs that are really just throwing them on, they throwing them on real quick. You usually had a man that would be able to sift through the records, pull out the joints for you, or the DJ might tell them, what to pull out next, and he'll pull it out next for you and pass it to you. You know what I'm saying? So you could throw it on real fast. I was talking about that yesterday with somebody that rest in peace, Mark 45 King. He started off as the record boy for DJ Breakout, who was the DJ for the Funky Four plus One More, which featured Sha Rock. You know what I'm saying? First female MC. But yeah, Mark 45 King was the record boy for DJ Breakout. He used to pass him the records and stuff.
Yeah, man. I didn't know that part.
Disco B was DJ Grandmaster Flash's record man.
Wow, that's deep, man. That's history in and of itself, man. Be able to tell that about how them records were played, and how them, because I used to always see when the DJs would come in, to do parties when I was coming up, man. They'd always be, they literally, man, had dollies, man, bringing their records in. They had so many damn records, and I'd be like, wow, that's
because to do a set, you had to come with at least 5 crates of records. You had to fill up like 5 of these.
Exactly, man. I remember that. Yeah.
Things were heavy. Them things were heavy. So you had to have a whole team. I remember my man R-Train, when R-Train, I came up under my man R-Train, and when Train used to go out, he had like a whole crew of kids just helping him with the equipment and the records. You know what I'm saying? You had to have a team with you because you had all that stuff. You had all the equipment and records you had to carry.
Yep. There was a guy in New York called DJ. I think his name was DJ Sugar Daddy at Club Bentley's, man.
Oh
and that dude, man, had a whole crew. You know what I mean? And you should carry them records, man. I'd be like, wow, this. That's what they did, man. You know what I mean?
Now, Ed. Now, Unicorn was speaking about Serato. Serato is what changed the game for DJs to where we didn't have to carry all of those records anymore.
Oh,
That's
really?
what changed the game. Because before, like I said, we at least five crates. You know what I'm saying? We usually had to do more depending on how long of a party you were doing. You know what I'm saying? You had to make sure you had all of the records, all of the jams that you knew people are going to want to dance to. You had to make sure you had those. But then when Serato came out and everything was digital, all you had to do was put it on, on an external hard drive or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you don't have to carry crates no more. All you're doing is bringing your laptop. Bring your laptop, your headphones or something, maybe your mixer. You got a control. If you got a controller, or if you're still doing turntables like I do, But yeah, as far as the crates, you're not carrying all them crates no more. You know what I'm saying? So Serato really changed the game and helped DJs when it came down to that.
Yeah. Again, you giving me a history lesson, man. You know what I mean? Didn't know that. You know what I mean? Well, listen, man, we're out of time. So, just want to wrap this thing up, man, and give you guys the final word. Anything you want to say, Rhino?
No, that's it for me. Just again, check me twitch.tv /RhinoCMZ. Hit the notification bell for when I go on. I may go on tomorrow, my regular time, but it's not going to be the shake-up. It's going to be crate sessions with CMZ, just playing records. It's not going to be all of the cutting, because normally, when I do the shake-up, I'm doing, the mixing, the blending, the cutting, the scratching, the juggling, and all of the handwork. But when I'm doing crate sessions with CMZ, I'm just playing records. I'm playing the full songs, playing them out so we can hear the full. It's like music appreciation. You know what I'm saying? We just hear the records. So that's what I'm doing with crate sessions. So check me out there, twitch.tv /RhinoCMZ. Hit the notification bell. I'll probably go on tomorrow, maybe my regular time that I usually do when I do the shake-up, which is 3 p.m. You check me out tomorrow.
Unicorn, you got any final words, my brother?
You can find everything at Unicorn151. I would say stay in tune with the Jersey music scene, stay in tune with the Jersey club scene. A lot of big things are happening. I'll be doing shows all throughout the summer. I think the biggest show that we have coming up is 24 Hours of Peace and Artists Against Violence. I'm curating a set for women empowerment during 24 hours apiece.
Yes.
So all the artists that I will bring out are going to be
Respect.
women, Black or Latino artists, women from the city, female dancers, female DJ, female producers, and we're going to turn up, have a good time. And yeah, that's it, man. I'm just, working with the kids, doing this music, and we having fun.
Yeah, I gotta say this real quick, brother. You remind me of Hakeem Green when he was younger. You remind me of a younger Hakeem Green back when he had his locks and everything. Even the way you speak,
Yo,
you remind me
I
of
get that a
Hakeem
lot,
Green.
yo.
Yeah.
Shout to King. I get that. I don't know. I'm getting that a lot. That's my boy.
Yeah. Word up.
Thank you.
Rhino, you got any final words, my brother?
Now that's it, brother. You good.
All right. And Zaid.
Just to thank our other guests that came on today, Rebecca and from the ACLU and Chino, returning citizens for the first time, welcoming Cuqui back in the space, right? Great segment with the disciples.
Yeah.
They were going in, right?
Yeah.
And spotlighting our daughter LaMonica McIver. She tries to make a fresh move. Right? It's a good show all around. Good show. Good Friday night.
Yeah. So we definitely want to thank the disciples for coming on, and as you just said, having their guests with the congressional candidate LaMonica McIver, who is, of course, our current council president here in the city of Newark. That was really, really a great segment that they had and a great guest. So we thank the disciples for coming through. Reverend Councilwoman at Large Rountree. We thank Minister Haqq, and we thank Sister Balena Ali. The host of course, the disciples. We thank them. So we thank all of our other guests, everybody that came through that you just named. We thank them. And of course, we thank our brother Unicorn tonight. We thank him for stopping by and sharing everything with us. Of course, I'm one of your hosts. My name is Ed Riley. Of course, Zaid is another one. And of course, DJ Rhino. And we've got a couple of others, John Austin and one of our emeritus founders, Bashir, and then of course Donna, and another one of our guests. What's the sister name?
Kalina.
Kalina Berryman, that come through and host us. So we want to say big up to all of our hosts. Of course, we here tonight. Almost any Friday, you bound to find any of them here as well. So we want to thank you all for coming and spending the time with us. If it's Friday. Anytime, Friday 6 to 9, you can find us right here. We are All Politics Are Local. We're America's number one political radio talk show. We'll catch y'all next time. What is it, Rhino? You say what we're going to catch them at?
In the whirlwind.
We'll catch y'all in the whirlwind.
And you don't stop.
Peace.